Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto had one true friend throughout his earlier years. Part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. The sun shone brightly on a beautiful day in Konohagakure, the birds chirping, the wind blowing softly, the chatter of civilians and shinobi alike walking throughout the village. The sounds of a new academy class of children laughing at play while waiting for the teacher to arrive. A group of girls were sitting in the top left corner talking and giggling. "That's him right there," a random brunette-haired girl whispered to her friend about a certain blonde. "Yeah, that's the boy that all the grown-ups tell us not to talk to," she replied. "Yeah, he's weird always by himself," another girl added. Unknown to the young girls, two pairs of ears heard their conversation. One, the 6-year-old blonde boy in question who just lowered his head, his eyes filled with sadness and loneliness. He had been lonely his entire life. No one wanted anything to do with him, as if they hated him, and he didn't know why. The other boy, also 6 with jet black hair, was talking to a random kid when he overheard the girls talking about the blonde-haired boy. Because he was the closest, he heard the whole thing. He clenched his fist. "No one deserves to be talked about like that. It's just not right, stupid girls," he thought as he started to get up, but soon the teacher finally came into the room, so he sat back down. "Good morning class, my name is Yumino Iruka and I'll be your homeroom teacher," a young Iruka called out. "Good morning Iruka-sensei," the entire class yelled out, welcoming their teacher. Iruka smiled. "Alright then, let's get started." He gave them an opening lecture and some small history of the village. Iruka also noticed the young boy up top looking at the blonde one whom he had already known about due to the decree and shinobi gossip. He went to sit behind his desk. "Alright class, now that is out of the way, how about you each get up and go around the room and introduce yourself to one another. Think of it as your first assignment." The entire class got up and began to mingle. The black-haired boy got up and spoke to a few kids, in particular one short-haired blonde girl with teal eyes. "Wow, she's pretty," he thought, but then he noticed the same girl along with several others flock over to another black-haired boy who just sat there impassively, only give a grunt in reply, while they all squealed. He also noticed that no one really had said anything to the blonde kid, so he made his way down to where the boy was sitting. "Hi," the black-haired boy started. "Hi," the blonde said sheepishly. "My name is Yodo Takeru, what's yours?" Takeru asked. "I'm Uzumaki Naruto." Naruto replied. He smiled. "Naruto, how that a funny name." Takeru chuckled. "Boy, stop laughing," Naruto slightly yelled with a slight grumpy face. "Okay, sorry. Hey, I know, do you want to play at the park with me after school?" Takeru asked with his hand held out. Naruto froze, all the sound, all the chatter around him silenced. No one had ever asked him to hang out. It had always been him seeking to hang out or play with others, but their parents never let them and he was left alone. Now this random boy is asking him. Iruka sat and watched all the interactions, but was focusing more on Naruto. The blonde boy's bangs held in front of his eyes. Takeru looked defeated and was about to move his hand when Naruto grabbed it. "Heck yeah, I wanna hang out with you, Dadabayo," he said with his signature fox grin. Takeru smiled and the boys both shook hands, smiling at each other. Iruka smiled, seeing that Naruto had made a friend, or so he hoped. Unbeknownst to them, another was watching the interaction with the two boys, a young pale-skinned girl with wide eyes and a short haircut. "Naruto-kun," she thought as a blush formed on her face. After class, most of the children went home to their parents. Naruto, on the other hand, raced side by side with Takeru, the two boys laughing, running through the village streets, enjoying each other's company. They made it to the park to see 3 boys, one with red marks on his face running chasing a white puppy, another boy with brown spiky hair stuffing food in his mouth, and one with pineapple-type black hair lying down on the bench staring at the clouds. "Boy, aren't you guys in our class?" Naruto yelled out. Each boy stopped and looked at the two boys. "Yeah, I'm Inyazuka Kiba, this is my best bud," Akamaru Kiba replied, and Akamaru yipped. "Hi, my name's Akamichi." Choji added while eating some barback chips. "Yo, I'm Nara Shikamaru." Shikamaru said with a yawn. "I'm Uzumaki Naruto and this is Naruto replied. "Baka, you forgot my name already." Takeru growled with a tick mark forming on his head. Naruto rubbed the back of his head in embarrassment. "I'm Yodo Takeru. So what were you guys doing up here?" Takeru asked. "Just hanging out, doing nothing really," Choji replied. "That sounds boring. Hey, I know you guys wanna play ninja tag," Naruto yelled out. They all think for a moment before all smiling and agreeing, and for the next couple hours ran around the park playing ninja tag. Soon as it got late in the evening, the sun began to go down. Kiba, Choji, and Shikamaru's parents all came to get them. As they waved goodbye, Takeru noticed Naruto dropping his head a bit. "You okay, Naruto?" Takeru asked. "Yeah, Wid asked it," Naruto replied. "Well, you just seemed kinda bummed when they left." Naruto smiled, putting on a fake smile. "Yeah, I'm okay, today was the best day ever." "Yeah, it was fun, wanna do it again tomorrow," Takeru said excitedly. Naruto's smile widened. "You bet, Dadabayo," he said happily, but then looked confused as Takeru held his hand out. "Let's be friends?" Takeru asked with a genuine smile on his face. Naruto showed his foxy smile and shook hands with his new friend. "Friends?" The two boys smiled and laughed until a soft voice called from the background. They-chan, time to come home. Both boys turned around to see a short older lady with white hair. "Ah-chan, over here," Takeru called to her and she began to walk over. She then saw that her grandson was not alone, he stood with a blonde boy. "Hey-chan, it's time to come home." The old lady then turned to the blonde-haired boy and smiled. "Oh, and what's your name, sweetie?" Naruto hesitated. Not one adult in his life outside of the Hokage had shown him kindness. It was all new to him. "I'm Naruto Uzumaki." "Naruto," he yelled, regaining some of his resolve. The old lady smiled. "Well, Naruto, I'm Yodo Mariah, Takeru's grandmother," she said, ruffling Naruto's wild blonde mane. Takeru smiled, seeing his grandmother accept his new friend, then an idea formed in his head. "Hey Bachan, can Naruto come over for dinner, please?" "If it's okay with his parents," she asked, but then noticed the look on Naruto's face. I don't have any parents, I live by myself," Naruto said sadly, tears streaming down his face. The smile on Takeru's face suddenly turned to a frown. Mariah's heart broke. She looked at her grandson, then to Naruto and smiled, taking Naruto in her embrace. "Shhh, you poor thing, it's okay. You're always welcome at our house anytime." "Naruto-kun, are you hungry? We're having Ichiraku ramen delivered tonight and would be gladly willing to share." The looks on both young boys' faces was priceless to Mariah, going from sad faces to both their mouths wide open with stars in their wide eyes. She smiled. "I'll take that as a yes." She then took Takeru's hand, then offered her other hand to Naruto. For years no one would give him the time of day, but she smiled and offered her hand. He was shocked for a second, then smiled and placed his hand into her soft ones, and they all left the park together. In a dark room somewhere, an old man watches over Naruto on a crystal ball. He puffs his pipe and exhales slowly and smiles genuinely. "Naruto-kun, I'm happy for you." Taking another puff of his pipe, the man slowly began to make plans to make things right for the boy. Sometime later, October 10th, some time had passed by and Naruto and Takeru became fast friends, getting to know each other, hanging out all the time, even finding a surrogate family with the Yodo's amazing weaponsmiths who had moved to Konoha from Takumi village 8 years ago. They were the only people who seemed to genuinely care for him besides Iruka, who began to warm up to him even with all the mischief. The Hokage, old man Tucci and his daughter Am, owners of the Ichiraku ramen shop. He was sad to learn that, like him, Takeru didn't have his actual parents with him as they had died 7 years ago. At the academy during a sparring class, Naruto was paired up with Sasuke Uchiha. Though excited at the chance to achieve popularity by beating Sasuke, Naruto was easily beaten. By looking at Sasuke's eyes, Naruto realized that they were filled with hatred. When Iruka told them to make the reconciliation seal, they both refused. Since then, Naruto came to see Sasuke as a rival and intended to beat him. Takeru took note of this and promised to help his friend since he had started a bit more advanced ninjutsu and taijutsu at home. One night in October, Takeru had asked Naruto to go with him to eat ramen at the Ichiraku stand. The two friends ate and chatted with Tucci and Am before leaving. "That was so good, Dadabayo, thanks Takeru," Naruto said as they walked towards Naruto's apartment. "No problem Naruto, here I got you something," Takeru replied, handing Naruto a small box. What's this?" he asked, shocked. "Open it and see." Baka, Takeru replied jokingly. Naruto opened the box to see a picture frame with a picture of him and Takeru, both smiling, a wide foxy grin. It was taken by Takeru's grandfather one day after a training session. "What's this for, Takeru?" Naruto asked, then he noticed that his friend had stopped walking. "Why didn't you tell me today was your birthday, Naruto?" Takeru asked. It's no big deal, it's just like any other day, I'm not that important," Naruto said, laughing, trying to move on from the subject. "And Naruto?" Takeru said, slowly cracking his knuckles. Naruto went quiet, his eyes lowered. "Look, I'm sorry, it's a day that I try to forget." "But why?" Takeru asked, but the two boys were interrupted by loud chanting. They turned and looked at a mob coming straight for them, chanting things like "demon" and "doesn't deserve to live." The young boys tried to run but were soon cornered. "Demon brat, come here so I can beat you to death," an obviously drunken man yelled out. Takeru's head turned to see Naruto frozen in fear, so he then stepped between the mob and his friend. "Step aside, kid, and let us have our revenge," another man called out. Takeru growled, stretching his arms out wide. "No. I won't let you hurt my best friend." Naruto's eyes widened. "Best friend?" Takeru called him his best friend. "He's corrupted the boy, the demon has corrupted him," another random villager yelled. "Leave Naruto alone," Takeru shouted, hoping someone would hear. The drunken man suddenly chucked the bottle at Naruto, but Takeru blocked it, the bottle shattered, and a piece of glass cut across his left cheek right under his eye. Takeru screamed. He held his eye as it had been cut by the drunken man, who then kicked him in the stomach, knocking him over. "Takeru!" Naruto cried out. "At them!" yelled the drunken man, but in swift fashion his head was cut clean off, his body fell to the ground with a thud as his head rolled to the side. The captain of the Anbu Black Ops, who stood with spiky white hair and a dog mask. "How low you've sunk, assaulting two 7-year-olds who can barely defend themselves. Now disperse this crowd, or we will be forced to take more drastic actions." He nodded his head, and his Anbu appeared on the rooftop, standing at the ready. Quickly the crowd dispersed, leaving the two boys and the shinobi task force. Naruto quickly ran to check on Takeru, while the other Anbu quickly joined their captain, two of them taking the dead body away. "Your orders, sir," the boar mask asked. "Or notify the boy's grandparents, Nico, take them to the hospital. I'll report to Hokage-sama." He then walked over to the two boys and bent down. "It going to be okay, Naruto, go with Bird, she'll take care of you and your friend." How do you know my name?" Naruto asked while Nico walked over and picked up Takeru. She held the boy in her arms, saddened as this was her lover's godson. Inu kneeled down in front of Naruto and ruffled his head. "You'll know soon enough, for now go with Nico," and with that he shunshined away. Hokage's office. Sarutobi sighed. He hated this day. He hated it for several reasons. It was the day the Kyuubi mysteriously attacked so long ago. It was the day he lost Minato, Kushina and his wife. It was the day a baby boy was left to live a life without ever knowing the love of a family. A day a lot of the villagers use as a day to seek revenge against a child who doesn't even know why. "Hokage-sama," dog said as he appeared in the office. He said as he still faced the window of his office looking out towards the village. He waved his hand and the Anbu in the room left. He then placed a privacy seal. "What happened out there, Kakashi?" The Anbu captain removed his mask and rose up as he recalled the night's events. Sarutobi's fist clenched. How much longer must the boy suffer, and then to see his friend hurt while trying to. Sarutobi growled softly, then he sighed. "With all due respect, Hokage-sama, why not simply tell Naruto the truth?" Kakashi asked. Sarutobi sighed. "I'd like nothing more, but with the Elder Council blocking me and the Civilian Council breathing down my neck about Naruto-kun, it would cause too much drama right now, but Kakashi, you have the right idea." Kakashi looked confused for a second, then asked, "What do you mean, Hokage-sama?" Sarutobi turned to face his ninja and smiled. "If when Naruto-kun reaches the rank of Chunin, we will reveal everything to him, but not beforehand." Kakashi sighed. "And what makes you so sure he'll reach Chunin rank or Genin at that?" "I have faith that he will make Genin, but to ensure that he makes Chunin well, we'll have to give him a teacher that was taught by his father, now won't we?" The third Hokage finished with a smile. Kakashi thought for only a second. "Oh boy," he then nodded. "Hi Hokage-sama, when the time comes I'll do my best. That is all I could ask for now." "Where are the boys?" Sarutobi asked. "Konoha Hospital." Naruto sat in Takeru's room while he slept. His grandparents once notified and both came rushing to check on Takeru and Naruto. This surprised Naruto. He had assumed they would be mad or blame him for Takeru's condition, but they were just as scared for his well-being as well. They stepped outside for a moment to speak with some doctors, closing the door on the way out. "Takeru, I'm so sorry, I never wanted any of this," Naruto said softly, soft tears falling from his face. "Naruto," Takeru said as he sat up slowly. "Takeru, are you okay?" Naruto smiled. Takeru rubbed a bandage on his face covering what he knew was going to be a scar, but then he nodded. "Yeah, I'm okay because they didn't hurt my best friend." He smiled. "But you got hurt because of me," and Naruto started. Takeru clenched the bed sheets tightly. "Shut up, Baka," he yelled softly, making Naruto halt his tongue. "You are my best friend, Naruto. Gigi always told me to protect your loved ones, and the ones you hold close. Well, that's what I did, and I'd do it again in a heartbeat." "Databeo. Protect your," Naruto thought and considered those words, then smiled his foxy grin. "Thank you, Takeru. Now I'm gonna train a lot harder so I can protect you, Gigi, Bachan, Iruka-sensei and Gigi Hokage," he proclaimed, jumping into the air. Once he landed, he stuck out his thumb and gives a thumbs up. "Databeo." Takeru smiled and returned the thumb up. "I promise we'll do it together, Naruto." Both boys were unaware of several presences around them. The Nico and dog Anbu were stationed outside of the hospital window listening to the conversation. They were joined by another Konoha shinobi, a man with bandana hit I-8 and a sword on his back. He had a slight cough, but all three had something in common, a smile on their faces. As Takeru made his promise, Mariah and Akashi walked in, standing close to the doorway. "I'm so glad to see you both smiling," Mariah stated, holding her hand to her heart with a big smile. "Naruto-kun, we have a surprise for you," Akashi said huskily with a smile. The blonde boy perked up. "Oh, what is it?" As soon as he said, the Hokage turned the corner to enter the doorway. Hiruzen strided past the Yodos and stopped with a smile as he was hit with a blonde blur. "Gigi," Naruto said with a smile. "Hello, Naruto-kun." He lightly pushed the boy off of him and knelt down. "I'm so sorry for what happened tonight, Naruto-kun, but I promise things will be much better as I have a present for you, one I'm sure you will greatly enjoy." As this was said, both Mariah and Akashi knelt down next to Naruto and the Hokage with Hokage-sama's blessing. "Naruto-kun, how would you like to come live with us and be a part of our family?" Both young boys' faces lit up in shock. "Bachan, does that mean Naruto will be like my brother?" "Yes, Takeru-kun, he will be if he accepts. So what do you say, Naruto-kun?" Naruto stood there with his head hung with his bangs covering his eyes. Suddenly he began to shake, and this slightly worried all of them until he raised his head with a huge foxy grin and tears coming down his face. I would like that very much, Databeo." 5 years later, March 29th, Naruto sat next to Takeru and Shikamaru in the classroom while Iruka taught. They'd all grown up into preteens, each 12 years old. Naruto wore his signature orange jumpsuit and goggles, while Takeru wore a black sleeveless guy with a Leaf Village symbol on the back and black wraps on his arms and legs and standard shinobi sandals. "Alright class, line up and perform the transformation jutsu." The whole class got up and Takeru went first, succeeding in a perfect replica of Iruka, next was Sakura, and then Sasuke, both succeeding in the jutsu. Naruto was next. Next Uzumaki Naruto, Iruka called out. Naruto walked up, at the back of the line. Good luck. Naruto was on Takeru's mind as he waited to see what his best friend would do. He just hoped it wasn't that jutsu. In the middle of the line, the same young girl with beautiful wide eyes who had grown a bit taller pressed her fingers together. Naruto-kun, do your best. And Naruto yelled, and in a puff of smoke he changed into a very curvy woman with blonde pigtails. Iruka's face froze, then he shot back with a huge nosebleed. The majority of the boys in the class all had smaller nosebleeds, even Takeru and Sasuke. And of course it was that jutsu. Naruto baka. Takeru smiled as his face palmed. Ha gotcha, that's my Warwick no jutsu, I'm sorry I couldn't resist. Naruto laughed. The stupid tricks, this is your last warning, Iruka yelled back. Later that day, once class was finally over, everyone went home. Takeru and Naruto went home to the Yodo residence. Bachan, we're home, Takeru called out as they opened the door. Oh good, how was class today boys? Mariah asked. Good till Naruto baka made the teacher nosebleed. Takeru snickered as Mariah came out of the kitchen. Why I didn't talk Hiru, Naruto said as he was about to pounce on Takeru. Naruto, what have I told you about using that jutsu? Mariah said, tapping her foot against the floor. I'm sorry Bachan, I couldn't help it, besides I didn't see Mr. Snitch over here complaining, Naruto countered smiling. Why you little, Takeru said, getting ready to jump on Naruto. Take it outside you two, beside it's time for your training session anyway. Now get before you break something. Mariah sighed as the two boys dropped their bag on the couch and ran to the big backyard. As soon as they were outside they noticed Yodo Akashi, Takeru's grandfather, waiting for them. Digi, Takeru started, but he noticed his grandfather's face as it held a serious look. Both young boys stopped and sat quietly in front of him. Akashi cleared his throat. I have spent the last 5 years doing my best to help prepare you for what lies ahead. Tomorrow both of you are set to graduate from the academy. From then on you'll be known as Genin. The first step in becoming shinobi. The road will be paved with hard times and tough choices, but I have faith that you two will pave the way to greatness together. Akashi finished with a smile. Now for a sparring match, stand at the ready, show me the efforts of all the training I've given you. Both boys smiled and quickly jumped up into a fighting stance. Akashi had begun increasing the boys' training, teaching survival skills, slightly more advanced jutsu, better chakra control, even though Naruto still had minor problems with it. Starting Takeru's kenjutsu training along with his godfather Gekko Hade, Naruto would sometimes join in to learn something new and even learning which chakra nature each boy had. Takeru had lightning and fire, while Naruto's was wind. Akashi wanted the two to be prepared. Naruto rushed in first, brash as always, and swiftly punched Takeru, to which he only evaded the attacks. They two boys went at it for an hour, neither willing to give up. Akashi smiled and halted them. Good, the both of you have come a long way. I think you will do just fine tomorrow, he finished. I believe so as well. Akashi-san, a figure in the shadows called out. Stepping out was Iruka and Hade, who were secretly watching their pupils spar. Who-san, Takeru said calmly, panting, excited to see his godfather. Boy, Iruka-sensei, Naruto yelled, smiling, rubbing the back of his head, panting. Yes, you two boys will be fine, shinobi, Hade praised. Iruka smiled and nodded. Well, Takeru, anyway, we may hold Naruto back for that little stunt he pulled today. Takeru snickered while Naruto's jaw dropped. Oh, Iruka-sensei, I was just messing with you, Dadabeo. Yeah, well anyway, why don't you two go get cleaned up? We're taking you out for Ichiraku ramen, you know the good stuff. AWWW, yeah, both boys yelled, running into the house. Later that evening, laughter could be heard from the ramen stand. Naruto and Takeru were so busy racing to see who could eat the most ramen, they didn't hear Iruka ask his question, and then Takeru almost choked. Okay, now that your faces are stuffed, I asked what would you like to be in the ninja world when you both become ninja. How about you, Takeru? Iruka asked. Takeru regained his breath and sat still before answering. I want to be strong. He paused as the rest of the group looked toward him. Strong enough to protect everyone I hold dear, and maybe have the rank of Takubetsu Jonin. Hade smiled at his godson as he admired the answer. But I think you're already on that road, Takeru. Iruka replied, smiling at his student. What about you, Naruto? I want to be Hokage, Naruto yelled out slightly. Everyone, including Tuchi and Am, paused for a bit after hearing that bold claim. Naruto, you do know that it takes a lot to become Hokage, and who they are, right? Iruka began. Of course I do, Naruto interrupted, finishing up the last sip of his ramen. Everybody knows they were the greatest shinobi of their time, the best of the best, undefeated ninja champs. He paused for a moment to think, and the fourth Hokage is the one who saved the village from the Kyuubi. He was the most amazing. So why do you want to become Hokage? Hade asked as he coughed. I want to show the village that I am somebody and be recognized, also to get really strong like Takeru said, to protect my loved ones, but most of all because I'm going to be greater than any of them. He paused and raised his chopsticks in the air. Me, Naruto, the next Hokage. He brings his sticks down, pointing at Iruka, a ninja legend. Dadabeo. Alright, go Naruto. Takeru cheers, and both boys high five in the air. Iruka, Hade, Tuchi and Am looked at the two boys and could see them going far in the future, as long as they had each other. The next day, March 30th, we will now start the final exam. When your name is called, please proceed to the testing room. The final test will be on the Bunshin no Jutsu. Erg, that's my worst, my technique grade, I'm never gonna pass. Gulp. I just have to remember what Jiji taught me. Naruto reels in his head. Oh man, I hope Naruto can pull this off. Takeru thought. Naruto's name is called, and he makes his way to the testing room. Alright, get it together Naruto, you can do this, just remember what Jiji taught you. Dadabeo. He makes the hand seal and gathers his chakra Bunshin no Jutsu. The whole room is covered in smoke, and to everyone's surprise, 3 actual clones appear beside Naruto. He was so shocked it worked. I never thought I'd say this, but finally you passed Naruto, congratulations. Iruka smiled. Yes, congrats Naruto, the other teacher Mizuki said as Naruto leaped for joy. Later, once everyone has passed their exams or not, they all gather in front of the school celebrating with their parents and families. Naruto and Takeru were the exception as Takeru's grandparents couldn't make it and promised to celebrate with them at home. Man, I was worried for you for a bit, buddy, Takeru said to Naruto. Me too, but I did it. Kinda wished I would have gotten better test scores so I could be at the top of the grades list with you and that team Sasuke, Naruto said excitedly. Yeah, I guess. Aw man, I forgot something in class. Hang here for me while I go pick it up, Takeru asked. Naruto smiled. Alright, I'll be at the swing. Takeru ran towards the school and brushed past the remaining students, then he bumped into a blonde-haired girl. Oh man, I'm so sorry. Geez, idiot, watch where you're going, will ya, the loud-mouthed girl said, but quickly quieted as she looked up and saw Takeru, taking in his tan brown skin, onyx black hair, and how it glistened in the sunlight, and that smile he had on his face and the scar under his eye. How'd that happen, she thought. He extended his hand and she slowly took it. Sorry about that, are you okay? The ponytailed girl could only nod as he helped her up. Takeru looked her over to make sure she was. Her curves, cute face and blonde hair stood out to him most. Good, hey, you passed too, that's awesome. I'm Yodo, Takeru, he says, still holding her hand. I'm Ino Yamanaka. Ino, she blushed as he started lightly shaking her hand. He noticed it too and released her hand and embarrassingly rubbed the back of his head, blushing as well. Well, it's nice to meet you, Ino, but I gotta go, he said as he began to run off again. Hope to see you again soon as he ran inside. Ino could still feel the heat of the blush on her cheeks, then she smirked. Oh, don't worry, you will, she said to no one in particular and walked off. Naruto looked on as he swung on the swing. 2 older women stood chatting and glanced over at him. There you see him, it's that boy, I heard he became a ninja too. Maybe he'll get killed on a mission or something. I mean, he's the boy that SHHH, we're not allowed to talk about that. Suddenly, as Naruto was taking his goggles off, Mizuki sensei landed beside him. Let's go talk, Naruto, Mizuki said, and Naruto followed him off to a rooftop. As they sat looking into the sunset on top of his old apartment roof, Mizuki started. I was really surprised at you today, you really have come far, Naruto. Haruka thinks so too. Thanks, Mizuki-sensei. I just wished I had better test scores to make it perfect, Naruto responded. Mizuki smiled. Then I guess I have to tell you it's a secret, but I'm gonna let you in on it. A secret, Naruto wondered. Later that night, Haruka-sensei, wake up. What is it, the Chunin asked as he opened the door to see Mizuki standing there. You need to come to Hokage-zama's right away. It's Naruto, he stole the sacred scroll, Mizuki claimed. You mean the scroll of sealing? No. Haruka yelled in surprise. Meanwhile, I wonder where Naruto is. He left the school and he wasn't at the apartment. Takeru ponders while he lies in bed. Suddenly a tap on his window got his attention. He looks up to see Naruto at the window. Hey Baka, where were you? You missed dinner, Takeru started. SHHH, follow me, I've got something cool to show you, Naruto said quietly as he began to jump away. Takeru followed his friend all the way to the forest and he then noticed that Naruto was already on the ground reading from a scroll. So he sent a clone to come get me. Way to go, Naruto, Takeru thought as the Naruto he was following disappeared in a puff of smoke. Takeru, over here, look what I got, Naruto said excitedly to his friend. Cool, an old scroll. He gets a closer look with forbidden jutsu. Naruto, where did you get this? Naruto rubbed his head. That when Takeru noticed he had been practicing cause there were dirt marks everywhere. I kinda snuck into the Hokage mansion and took it. Okay, wait, you what? Takeru yelled as his head got bigger, looking down at Naruto. Mad props for the stealth skills, but man, do you know how much trouble you'll be in when they catch you, Baka. Relax team, this was a secret extra credit test given to me by Mizuki sensei, he said. If I learn a technique from this scroll I'll be in the number 1% of test scores, and come on, you can't tell me you don't want to peek. I already learned one technique, Naruto replied with his foxy grin. Takeru hesitated for a moment and then went through the first page and on to the second. The title of the page and the name of the technique was Raikyu, which means lightning ball. Takeru was giddy but smart, so instead of practicing right now he took out some paper and wrote it down to practice later. Okay, cool, but this is as far as I'll go and you two were not looking at anymore, Takeru stated as of matter of factly. Fine, buzzkill, Naruto says, pouting as both boys sit down next to each other under the same tree laughing. Iruka quickly found Naruto and saw that Takeru was with him, but then noticed Mizuki closing in on them with 2 large shuriken attached to his back. I wonder, Iruka said quietly and found a tree close to them to hide at. He looked to see Naruto and saw that he had been practicing. I can see how hard he's been working, Iruka thought. Suddenly a hail of kunai rained towards the two boys. Takeru being faster knocked Naruto to the side, but got hit in his left thigh as the other kunai got stuck in the tree. Takeru. Naruto yelled in horror as that scene replayed from all those years ago. So it seems you found our little hideaway, boy. Mizuki called out. Naruto, give me the scroll now. So that's the way it is, I should have known, Iruka thought as he quickly jumped in between the boys and Mizuki. Wait a minute, what's going on here, Iruka-sensei? Naruto, don't let Mizuki get the scroll, it contains forbidden jutsu that could put this village in grave danger. Mizuki used you to get the scroll for himself for his own power. Iruka warned. Naruto growled at Mizuki, and Takeru simply glared at the man while holding his wound. Naruto, Iruka's just trying to scare you because he doesn't want you to have the scroll, Mizuki calmly replied, causing to Naruto to turn his attention to Iruka. Iruka growled, stop lying, Mizuki, don't let him trick you, Naruto. Mizuki chuckled, interrupting Iruka, oh, I'll tell you who's really lying. No, Mizuki. Iruka yelled, and both young boys pondered what they could possibly be talking about. They've been lying to you your whole life, Naruto, since the decree 12 years ago, Mizuki retorted. What decree, Naruto asked, genuinely confused. Mizuki smiled, everyone knows except you and that other brat. Iruka's trying to hide it from you, even now he'd do anything to shut me up. What is this decree, Naruto asked as Takeru limped over to his side. Why does everyone else know about it? Don't tell him, it's forbidden. Iruka screamed. Mizuki finally let it loose. The decree is that no one can tell you the Kyuubi no Yoko is inside you. Naruto's and Takeru's eyes widened, but for two different reasons. The fox spirit that killed Iruka's parents, Takeru's father, and destroyed our village, has taken over your body. You are the Kyuubi. Takeru's eyes widened more. The Kyuubi, the one that killed my father when it attacked while I was just a newborn baby, is inside my little brother, he thought as he unknowingly slowly backed away from his friend. Trembling, he tripped and fell, looking at Naruto with horror in his eyes. Stop it. Iruka yelled. They've all been sneaking around hiding things from you your whole life. Didn't you think it was strange how they all treated you like dirt, like they hated you for just being alive? Even now I can see hatred bubbling up into Takeru's eyes. You're the reason he doesn't have a father, Mizuki taunted at the blonde-haired boy. No. Naruto gritted through his teeth as chakra began to flow around him. Naruto. Both Iruka and Takeru thought to themselves over the obvious pain and confusion Naruto was going through. I won't live in the past. Naruto-kun is my friend, my family, Takeru thought. Mizuki went on, that why you will never be accepted in this village, even your beloved sensei and so-called brother hate your guts. No. Takeru yelled out, it's not true, Naruto, I was like you, yes, I had my grandparents, but I never knew my two-sen either, and my ka-sen died soon after. I was hurting inside too, even though I never showed it, but then you came into my life, and I've never been happier. This thing, the Kyuubi being inside you, doesn't change the fact that you are still my best friend, practically my brother. We are family now. He finished, tears streaming down his face. Enough of this, die, Naruto, Mizuki yelled as he spins and tosses the big shuriken right at Naruto. The blonde struggles to get out of the way, Naruto. Takeru yells, trying to move slowly up the side of the tree to help him as the shuriken grows closer. Naruto, get down. Iruka yelled as the boy knelt down. The blade finally hit, but instead of him it hit Iruka in the back, who had dove back in front of Naruto to protect him. Blood trickling down his back and lip, small drops of blood landing on Naruto's face. Iruka-sensei. Takeru yelled out. Why? Naruto asked Iruka. Iruka's tears fell down his face. Because we're the same. When I lost my parent, no one seemed to care. They didn't have time for me. They forgot I was there. My grades dropped. I became the class clown. I just wanted them to see me, to know my name. My schoolwork wasn't good enough to get their attention, so I did crazy things, then I had to pay for it. It was hard. I know that how you felt, Naruto. You felt lonely and it hurt inside, but then you met Takeru, and I saw some of that loneliness fade away. I just wish I could have been there for you more. I let you down. I'm sorry. He paused to look at Naruto and Takeru. No one should have to suffer that much. No one should be alone like that. Mizuki chuckled again. Don't make me laugh. Iruka always hated you. Even Takeru hates you now. They both lost someone close to them because of the Kyuubi, and that beast is now inside you. He'd say anything to get the scroll from you. Naruto looked so confused. So many thoughts raced through his mind, so he slowly turned his head and dashed off deeper into the forest. Naruto. Iruka yelled. Naruto. Mizuki jumped down from the tree. Hahaha, you know, once he makes up his mind nothing can change it. He's going to use the scroll to take revenge on the village. Takeru HNG, go after Naruto now, Iruka ordered. Hi sensei, said the black-haired boy as he dashed off after Naruto, some of the feeling in his leg coming back. You saw that look in his eye, didn't you? Those are the eyes of the beast, Mizuki taunted. Iruka yanked the shuriken out of his back and slowly stood up. No pant, Naruto isn't like that, huh? He tossed the weapon back at full speed towards Mizuki, who promptly sidestepped to dodge it. "You're a joke. As soon as I eliminate Naruto and get the scroll, I'll be back for you," Mizuki said as he shishuned off towards the boys. "I won't let you," Iruka claimed, trying to get up. "Elsewhere. This is not good." Mizuki has a big mouth. He made Naruto feel so bad, worse than he's ever felt. It could unleash the power inside of him. If Naruto keeps tampering with the scroll, the seal that locks the Kyuubi inside of him could be broken, and the beast could come out if that happens. "I fear for us all," the Hokage thought as he watched all of this unfold on his crystal ball. Back in the forest, Takeru finally caught up with Naruto. "Naruto, everything Mizuki said was a lie. Give me the scroll, hurry, he'll be here any moment to take it away." Naruto caught the last step and kneed Takeru in the gut, knocking him away. Naruto landed and sat against a tree. "It can't be. How did you know, Naruto? How did you know that it was me and not Takeru?" Mizuki asked, panting. Naruto smiled and then disappeared in a puff of smoke. "Because I'm Takeru." Mizuki baka. "You're a fool. Why are you protecting that freak? He's the one that killed your father." Mizuki finished, then sidestepped again, dodging a couple kunai from Iruka, who had finally caught up and landed by Takeru, both injured. "We don't care what you say, we care about Naruto, and we won't let you get your hands on that scroll," Iruka replied. "HMPH, as if either of you could stop me. Don't you get it? Naruto is just like me." "How's that?" Takeru asked. "He wants the scroll for his own power and his own vengeance. That's how beast are. He'll pour all his rage into the scroll and destroy everything." "You're right," Iruka started. "So it's true. Iruka-sensei never believe in me. He thinks I'm some beast, some kind of freak," Naruto thought, saddened by it. "That is how beasts are, but that is not who Naruto is. He's nothing like that. Naruto is one of a kind, works hard, puts his whole heart into it. Sure, he messes up sometimes and everyone jumps on him, but his suffering only makes him stronger. That's what separates him from being a beast." Iruka started again. "So you're wrong. He's nothing like the Kyuubi. He's Uzumaki Naruto of Konohagakure." Takeru finished. "You both really believe that dribble? Fools, I was gonna save you for later, but I've changed my mind." Mizuki pulled out his last big shuriken. "You're finished." He spins it and dashed toward the pair. "So this is it," both Takeru and Iruka thought, but then they both heard and saw Naruto knee Mizuki dead in the face as he released the blade and it went flying upward. "Naruto!" Takeru yelled. "Not bad for a little punk," Mizuki said, wiping the blood from his face, getting up. "If you ever lay a hand on my sensei or my brother, I'll kill you," Naruto replied with a deadly look on his face. "Such big words. I could completely destroy you with a single move," Mizuki stated. "Take your best shot, fool. I'll give it back 1,000-fold," Naruto said, making a hand sign. "Let's see you try. Show me what you can do, Kyuubi. Page Bunshin no Jutsu," Naruto yelled out. Takeru, Iruka and Mizuki's eyes all widened at the amount of clones Naruto had made. There had to be at least 1,000 solid clones. "Naruto, those aren't just illusions, they're solid clones. He's mastered an extremely advanced jutsu," Iruka thought. "Wow," Takeru said as he gazed at all the Naruto clones. Mizuki stumbled and looked all around. He was completely surrounded and he saw no way out. "If you're not coming, then we're gonna come after you," the original Naruto said, and all the clone agreed. They then all pummeled the traitor. 20 minutes later, Naruto stood over a beaten and bloody Mizuki. He rubbed his head with a foxy grin on his face. "Sorry, I kinda got carried away. Are you okay, Nai-san, Iruka-sensei?" Takeru smiled and nodded while Iruka responded, "Yeah." He smiled. "He's amazing. He wants to surpass all the Hokage, and I'm starting to believe he might do it," he thought. "Naruto, you did well, worthy of wearing that headband with pride." Iruka smiled to his students. "You too, Takeru. Now let's all go home," he says as he gets up slowly. Naruto tears up and tackles Iruka back down and hugs him. "Iruka-sensei. Ow, that hurt." Iruka chuckled. Takeru stood against the tree smiling and laughing at his now brother and teacher as they wrestled. "Naruto, Takeru, this is only the beginning. The road gets tougher now that you're ninja. But if I told you that it'd ruin the moment, so I'll tell you both later." Over Ramen. Saturday, April 2nd. The sun shined brightly in the early morning as the birds chirped and the leaves of tall trees swayed in the wind. The Hokage faces looked over all of Konoha and its people. Deep in the forest at one of the many training grounds, loud grunts could be heard echoing throughout. "Damn it," the young boy cursed as he plopped down on the ground to rest against a tree. Young Takeru panted and slammed his fist against the bark of the tree. He had spent most of the morning training in order to learn the Raikyu. There was a reason this was a forbidden jutsu. Lightning can be deadly and can drain your chakra. He popped a soldier pill. His injuries from the other night were healed quickly by his grandmother, who is a nurse at the hospital. "All I can do is generate chakra, but I can't manipulate it," Takeru sighed as he rested. "I wonder what Naruto-kun is doing right now," he thought. Hokage Mansion. "Thank you, Naruto-kun. The picture is satisfactory," the third Hokage spoke. Naruto smiled. "Thanks, Jiji. You've come a long way. I'm proud of you and can't wait to see your progress as a ninja of Konoha. I'm gonna get super strong, so one day I'll beat you, Jiji. I bet I can beat you right now." He claims that he'll get strong and I believe he can do it. He's brash and still childlike, but he has a good heart. Sarutobi thought to himself, is that so? Maybe, just maybe, when you're older. "Oh yeah. Fine, here I go, old man." Warwick no jutsu. The room was covered in smoke, and what stood before the Hokage was a tall, slender nude woman with blonde pigtails and whisker marks on her face. Saratobi blinked for a second, then was sent flying backward in his chair by a massive nosebleed. The door slowly slid open just enough for an eye to peek through and see the Hokage laid out frozen on the floor and a short blonde-haired boy. Maybe I overdid it, Naruto stutters out. Once Saratobi regained his composure. That's the Warwick no Jutsu you say, very tricky, much too tricky, don't do it again. The Hokage said as he rubbed his nose while Naruto rubbed the back of his head in embarrassment. The figure standing outside the door in silence raised a shuriken in his hand. Both Saratobi and Naruto could sense something coming, and sure enough the door burst open and, "Old man, I challenge you," a small boy yelled, running toward the elder man. "I'm going to defeat you and become the fifth Hokage." He kept charging forward only to trip and fall flat on his face. He began sobbing. "My grandson, another headache, it's going to be a long day, I can feel it," Saratobi thought as he sighed. Training grounds, again. Takeru yelled to no one really because he was by himself. He brought his hands together as if he were praying and began to focus his chakra. Chakra flowed off his hands as he tried to separate them, but then nothing. "Arg, what am I doing wrong?" he shouted to the heavens. "You mean besides trying to learn a forbidden jutsu?" a voice said, coming from a tree behind him. Takeru turned to see his grandfather leaning against a tree. He held a towel which he tossed to his grandson. "Ajisen, I was just," Takeru started. Kakashi cleared his throat. "If you are so determined to learn the Raikyu, then you need to learn two things first, dear boy." Takeru sat down and focused on only his grandfather. This technique uses both shape and chakra nature manipulation at the same time. Akashi paused so that the information sunk in. First you focus and gather the chakra into both your hands, which I see you've already got down. Now this is where changing the nature comes in. We've already discovered that you amazingly have two chakra natures, something that shouldn't have happened until you've grown older and gained experience, but I'll bet we can chalk that up to your mother having a fire nature and your father having lightning. Wow, mom had fire while dad had lightning, so cool, Takeru said as he thought of his parents. Akashi smiled. Now then, once you've gathered the chakra, you then change it into an electric current. Now for the shape manipulation. You'll change its shape to that of a power surge, which will determine the power and range. I'm going to make it sort of simple for you. Instead of trying to pull your hands apart to create the ball, form your hands together as if you were cupping a ball. Akashi paused again to show him and then asked Takeru to do it as well. But just make sure your fingertips are all connected and then push out, keeping your index fingers and thumbs together, making a diamond while the rest of your fingers are spread out. But why do I have to cup the chakra like a ball? Takeru asked. So it will be easier to channel the lightning through your touching fingertips and the space between the palm will gather into the ball. Later on you can expand the size of the ball, but for right now please keep them to the size of a water balloon, no bigger, do you understand? Akashi said strictly but caring. Yes, thank you, Ajisen. Takeru got up and hugged his grandfather for always being there to teach and help him down this ninja path. Akashi smiled. I'll be taking my leave now, but first I want you to take learning this slowly. I want you to spend the next 5 days only working on how to channel and manipulate the lighting, then the next part will come so much easier for you. Takeru frowned. Oh, but no buts. Alright, now I want you and Naruto home by supper. Do I make myself clear? Akashi said firmly. Hi, Takeru quickly said and watched as his grandfather left. Elsewhere, Naruto was having an interesting day to say the least. First off, the grandson of the third Hokage had followed him and begged to become his new trainer, and what did the kid want to learn? The sexy jutsu of all things. Naruto humbled the kid and taught him the ropes, which more often than not led to Naruto getting hit and pummeled instead of Konohamaru. Once they trained for a bit and took a break, they had a nice chat about why Konohamaru keeps trying to beat his grandfather. HMPH, a kid can't just turn into a Hokage after a day or two, Naruto explains. Konohamaru jumped up. What? It's not that simple, you keep saying Hokage, Hokage. To really be a Hokage you know what you'll have to do. Naruto smiled. What is it? Konohamaru asked, getting on the defensive. Naruto's lips curled up into a serious smile. You're gonna have to defeat me in battle. Konohamaru's face froze in a look of shock and admiration. Training grounds. Takeru had been sitting in the middle of the clearing. He was in an Indian-style posture and had his hands together like he had earlier. Every word his grandfather spoke played in his mind. Alright, first we gather chakra in both hands, he thought as he began gathering a good amount of chakra. Good thing I took a soldier pill. Okay, next I position my hands in a shape to cup a ball. He then slowly opened his hands and touched all his fingertip together and formed the cupping shape, chakra flowing on both his hands still. He sighs. Alright, so far so good, now I have to change the chakra flow into an electric current. Meanwhile, in another part of the forest surrounding the training grounds, a young girl with long platinum blonde hair and a ponytail and teal-colored eyes sat picking flowers and putting them in a basket. She wore a sleeveless purple halter top that came down to her midriff, a matching purple skirt with ninja wraps, starting from her exposed stomach down to a couple inches before her knees. She finished picking her flowers and started walking back down the path to the village. Further down she looked into the trees and saw a figure sitting in the middle of a clearing. I wonder who that is, the girl wondered as she broke from the path and walked towards the figure, but slightly staying on guard. Once she reached a tree close enough to see who it was, she gasped slightly. Yodo Takeru. She blushed as she continued to watch him. What's he doing? She thought. Takeru sat there for an hour focusing before he felt something happen. Small sparks of lightning chakra began to form in his fingertips, then traveled down each of his fingers. Takeru's eyes widened. I'm doing it. He was really happy. His focus and training and the help from his grandfather helped out a lot. He was currently generating lightning chakra. Yada, I'm doing it. He yelled. Suddenly the lightning chakra he was focusing on gathered too quickly and in a burst of chakra sent the boy tumbling back into a tree. The girl left her spot from the tree and quickly ran over to Takeru. Hey, are you alright? She yelled out as he laid there unresponsive. Takeru, please wake up, wake up. The voice came in muffled, but slowly he opened his eyes and he saw her. She was rocking his body, yelling for him to wake up. He noticed her platinum ponytail glistening in the sun. And were those tears? Why are you crying? Takeru asked softly. Ino looked down and saw that he was awake. She quickly halted her tears and yelled at him while shaking him. Baka. I thought you had died or something. That's the only reason, she said while turning her head, pouting. Takeru chuckled a bit, regaining her attention. She saw he was trying to get up. Ino helped him slide back and rest against a tree. Thank you, Ino-chan. Had you not been here, well thanks. He paused as she blushed at the added honorific. By the way, what were you doing out here anyway? I was watching you, and Ino paused as she blushed a deep red, thinking about what she just said. No, what I meant was I was picking flowers, and I just happened to see you out here doing whatever it was that you were doing until you got hurt. She finished with her head down in embarrassment, then asked what were you doing anyway? Takeru smiled. I was trying to learn a new jutsu, and I had it, well, part of it anyway, till I kinda got too excited and lost my focus. He rubbed the back of his head in embarrassment, but smiled and Ino couldn't help but chuckle at that. You're kinda cute when you laugh like that. Takeru stated with a wide smile, something he picked up from Naruto. Ino froze. He thinks I'm cute, she thought, blushing, then a sly smirk came upon her lips. Let's see how this plays out. So I'm only cute when I laugh, huh? She smiled deviously at the young boy. The bait is set. No, what I meant to say was you're always cute. I mean, Takeru stuttered out, embarrassed at being caught off guard. Hook, line and sinker, she giggled. Do you think I'm cute? She asked, placing a piece of hair behind her ear and looked at him. Takeru sighed and adjusted his posture. He was now holding one knee up, while the other straightens out. Well, no, actually, I don't think you're cute. He paused. What? Ino yelled out, about to pounce on the boy when he began to finish. He smiled at her confusion. Cute is something we get called as kids by our parents or another adult, so no, I don't think you're cute, I think you're beautiful, he said smoothly, looking towards the big blue sky. Ino truly froze this time. He had called her beautiful. No one besides her father had ever called her that. He continued, his head lowering a bit. But who am I kidding? He chuckled, a laugh of doubt. I bet you hear that all the time from your precious Sasuke-kun. When he finished, he looked over to see her head down a bit. No, he hasn't. He doesn't even notice me. I'm starting to think that he's not interested in girls at all. The way he just sits there all quiet and gloomy. But she was embarrassed to say, I've never been called beautiful before. Thank you, Takeru-kun. She smiled genuinely at him. Takeru nodded, then smiled, noticing the flowers in the basket. Hey, I didn't know you were into flowers. Ino smirked. The gears in her head started work. She was going to get to know this mystery of a boy, yet little did he know he played right into her hands. There's a lot of things you don't know about me. Then tell me. I've got plenty of time. It may be helpful if we end up on the same squad, he replied, smoothly, causing her to blush a bit. I'm alright, but not out here. Let's go into town to get lunch, she said, and put a hand up, stopping Takeru from speaking. And no, it's not a date, she finished with gusto as the pair got up and dusted themselves off. Not yet, at least, she thought to herself. With Naruto, the figure flew through the tree at top speed and landed on a tree near a clearing, and he looked down to see two boys sitting on a log. I found you, the man called out to the boys. Both of them turned around to see Ibisu, the elite Jonin trainer, standing on a tree branch with his hand on his hip, looking down on them both. HMPH, the Kyuubi no Yoko, Ibisu thought as he glared at Naruto. That icy stare, they all look at me that way. Grrrrrr, Naruto thought. Ibisu lands and starts walking toward them. So honorable grandson, time to go home. No way, I'm learning how to beat my grandfather so I can get the title Hokage, so don't get in my way. Konohamaru yelled, interrupting the Jonin. The Hokage is more than just a fighter. He must know virtue, honor, wisdom, and he must be skilled in 1,000 jutsu. You don't even know one, Ibisu preached while he continued to walk towards them. Konohamaru growled, henge. He yelled as he made the hand sign, and chakra began to swirl around him, and then smoke poofed around him. Ibisu stopped in his tracks. The smoke cleared, and standing in front of Ibisu was a tall, slender, black-haired beauty, nude for all to see. Hi there, like my jutsu, she said, winking to the older man. Ibisu's jaw dropped slightly as the jutsu faded. Hey, he's not defeated, Konohamaru said in his defeat. Wow, what kind of scandalous technique is that? Ibisu raged on. Such tasteless vulgarity can never influence me. I am far above it. Naruto stood there listening to all this, and he clenched his fist. Honorable grandson, stop this right now. Ibisu yelled, Naruto's turning you into a delinquent. Only my special training can put you on the fast track to becoming Hokage. Just leave me alone. Konohamaru yelled trying to get free from Abisu's grip. Page Bunshin no Jutsu. Both of them looked to see multiple Narutos being created, soon there were over 25 Narutos in the clearing. Whoa, this is unreal. Konohamaru looked on in awe. HMPH, I'm not impressed. Abisu mocked. I'm a jonin and elite warrior. I'm not some lightweight like Mizuki. Watch how a real ninja beats an upstart. But the Hokage. Suratobi hummed as he sat and watched all this play out. Back at the training ground, Abisu faced off against an army of Naruto. Konohamaru silently prayed, come on boss. All the Narutos got into a ready stance, as did Abisu. Ready, he mocked confidently. The real Naruto made his hand sign and called out henge, and soon all the Narutos did the same. Instead of an army of Narutos, an army of beautiful nude women with blonde pigtails all surrounded Abisu, sending him into a fritz until he was sent flying backward by massive nosebleed. Gotcha with my harem jutsu. Naruto winked and smiled. If only Takeru could have seen this, he'd freak out, Naruto thought with a smirk. But Suratobi, he's combined shadow cloning with his own invention. The sexy jutsu, he said as he sat watching the whole thing. What a foolish ninja technique, and he could probably get me with it too, he thought. Of Takeru and Ino. So you're the Yamanaka clan heiress, must be nice, a young man said as he tended to his grilling beef. It has its perks, the young girl giggled and winked at him. And your family owns the flower shop on the east side where you help out, and that's where your love for flowers comes from. Right again. Wow, you really paid attention to my little rant. Ino giggled, a bit embarrassed that she had talked for so long, but Takeru didn't seem to mind. Yeah, well, Takeru shivered slightly. Ino looked concerned. Are you okay, Takeru-kun? Yes, but for some reason I now have the urge to beat Naruto-kun up for some odd reason. Oh well, I'll ask him about it when I get home, Takeru replied, unknowing of the events happening as they spoke. So I know some things about you. What do you want to know about me? Ino smiled, everything, she thought dreamily, but just replied, just tell me about your life up till now. I guess like I did. She smiled. Takeru took a sip of his drink and flipped his beef over. When it was almost done, he looked out the window to see the sun slowly start to go down. Well, my family moved here from Takumi no Sato. Takumi is known for its skills in making weaponry, many of which are sold to the ninja villages of the world. My grandfather Akashi and father Haruto were both skilled craftsmen and well trained in the shinobi arts. My father took a job here in one of the shinobi tool stores and eventually met my mother Akinoichi Mitushi Kura. They must be really proud of you, Ino said absent-mindedly as she listened. I hope they are. This caught Ino off guard as he continued. I've lived with my grandparents basically my whole life. When I was still just a baby, my parents both died during the Kyuubi no Yoko attack. Ino gasped, while Takeru paused to let that sink in and also to eat his grilled beef. He wasn't a Konoha shinobi, but he still wanted to do his part. So he joined my mother in trying to get people to safety, but they were struck by one of the tails. Ino could tell he was having trouble talking. She reached over the table to lay a comforting hand on top of his. Takeru sighed at the touch and continued, growing up only really knowing my grandparents and not my real parents was kinda hard, but I'll forever be grateful for all they've done, he smiled. But Ino could see the hurt behind it. She couldn't even imagine losing her parents. Then I met Naruto-kun and we became best friends. We adopted him and we became brothers. I'm older than him, so I'm like his older brother, but he knew the pain of not having parents. He paused. I think that's what drew me to him. I didn't know any better, but I could sense a loneliness within him. He smiled, looking directly into Ino's eyes. I'm glad that we could become his family. Ino smiled at that sentiment. She had no qualms against Naruto. He was only slightly annoying, but she guessed she had Takeru and his grandparent to thank for that. Then she looked at Takeru's face as he smiled and noticed it again. If you don't mind me asking where you got that scar under your left eye, Ino asked. It looks like a battle scar, but we only just became genin. Oh, this thing, he says as he traced the scar. I got hurt protecting Naruto when we were kids. Takeru told Ino the lengthy story, and what surprised Ino the most is the feeling she felt. She saw him in a completely new light. Takeru smiled at Ino and then saw that the sun was setting as there was an orange glow in the sky. Oh wow, it's getting late. He stood up and then like a gentleman helped Ino up. I'd better go find Naruto Baka and go home, unless you'd like me to walk you home, he said jokingly. Ino giggled. No, it's alright, but I had fun talking with you, Takeru-kun. Likewise, Ino-chan. He blushed, as did she. We should totally do it again sometime if we're not busy being ninja and whatnot. He chuckled as he paid the bill and waved goodbye. Wow. He's so brave, caring, shy, loyal, strong, funny, and not to mention a total hunk. Sasuke be damned, I found my new prey. Yodo Takeru, you will be mine. Ino smiled, thinking inwardly of Takeru. Takeru walked and walked until he noticed Naruto headed towards him. Oi. Naruto. The two boys meet in the center of the street and walk home together. So what did you do today, Take Nai-san? Naruto asked with his hands behind his head, walking. Oh, you know, just training. I'm a lot closer to mastering the Raikyu and talk to a girl. Takeru blushed on the last part. Naruto's eyes widened. Who was it then? He had a devious look on his face. Was it Ino? Takeru blushed then regained his smooth composure. I'm not telling you Baka. Yeah, I bet it was you. Like her don't you? Naruto teased. Takeru puffed his cheeks. Yeah, and if I do, besides at least the person I like actually talks to me. He finishes by stick his tongue out at his little brother. Yeah, well, Naruto's head then dropped. You're right. Sakura-chan sees right through me. To the Sasuke team. Ah, told you so. Anyway, what did you do today? Takeru asked, changing the subject. Oh, met the Hokage's grandson Konohamaru, and we did a little training. He wanted to learn one of my jutsu. Takeru stopped in a halt, his hair covering his eyes. Which jutsu? Naruto the Kage Bunshin. Naruto, unaware of the killing intent leaking in the air, just burst out, no, my Warwick no jutsu. He stopped and slowly turned around to see dark chakra leaking off of Takeru. You taught the grandson of our Hokage that jutsu? Takeru said, slowly cracking his knuckles. Naruto chuckled nervously and then nodded and quickly ran for his life with Takeru right on his heels, yelling something about kill Baka nice and him, telling Bachan and Super Baka. As they ran through the streets of Konoha and closer to the house, you could only hear a loud thwack sound, signifying Takeru had struck his prey. A couple days later, April 6th, boys wake up, today's the day of your orientation, Mariah yelled, knocking on each of their doors and stood back in the hall's doorway. Both young boys walked out of their room at the same time, digging into their eyes, yawning, and then bam. They both walked right into each other's head first and now lay out on the floor holding their heads. Mariah loved watching this event as it happened quite often. She giggled, good morning boys, breakfast is on the table downstairs, and with that said she left. Both of them sat up and stared at each other, then turned their head to the bathroom and then back to each other glaring. Downstairs, Akashi and Mariah heard what they heard every day, a loud ruckus in the hallway that today ended with a poofing sound and someone grumbling about Naruto Baka. They both shook their heads and smiled. Several minutes later they were joined by both boys dressed in their ninja gear, Naruto in his orange and Takeru in his black, both sporting their hit I-8s. Today's the day, aren't you both excited and ready? Mariah asked. Yes, I'm very excited, Obis and Takeru replied. Me too, Naruto replied eagerly. They all smiled and laughed. Soon the boys finished their breakfast and were out the door walking to the academy. Along the way they saw a badly hidden ninja. Naruto already knew who it was. The sheet fell and Konohamaru sprang into action. You're mine, Naruto. He ultimately failed and tripped, falling on his face again. Takeru just stared at the kid. What are you doing, Konohamaru? Naruto asked with a deadpan face. That was a slick move, that's why I respect you as a rival. Konohamaru muffled, his face still plastered to the ground, but he didn't do anything. Takeru replied in a somewhat embarrassed manner, this is the grandson of the Hokages. Konohamaru hopped up, alright, now fight me fair and square. Sorry, but I've got orientation, Naruto replied. Orientation? The young kid asked, confused. That's right, as of today we're full shinobi. Dadabayo. Both he and Takeru pointed to their headbands. Oh, okay, wait, who's this? Konohamaru asked, sizing up Takeru. Naruto smiles, this is my best friend Takeru, we're like brothers. Nice to meet you, Konohamaru-san, Takeru says, extending his hand. The two shake and then they all part ways as the two brothers continue their journey. Hey, wanna race to the orientation, Naruto-kun? Takeru asked. Naruto grinned, you're going down Nai-san just like this morning. Both turned in the direction to the academy, knelt down and go. Takeru yelled and they were off to the rooftops, leaping from one to the next, headed to their destination. Elsewhere, on the other side of town in an apartment on the third floor stood a young girl fluffing her pink hair in the mirror, tying her headband. Sakura, isn't it time for you to get going? A loud voice from kitchen. I know, I'm on my way out now, Sakura replied angrily as she left the house. Once outside she walked towards the academy thinking to herself. So I'm not a little academy student anymore. Haruno Sakura Kunoichi in training, she thought, then a soft voice broke her out of her stupor. See you later, the voice said as a figure walked out of the flower shop. Sakura recognized that it was Ino. The two girls stopped and looked at each other for a moment. Ino turned her head and said, good morning, forehead. Good morning, Ino pig. Both glare at each other before continuing to walk. So they actually let you graduate, what a surprise, Ino quipped. Those classes are ancient history, we're both shinobi now, and we're both equal, I won't lose to you anymore, Sakura retorted. Yeah, alright, Sakura. Ino giggles and Sakura joins her. So who do you think will sit next to Sasuke-kun today? The pink-haired girl asked her best friend and rival. Ino's eyes looked down as they were walking, and she sighed, I don't know, and honestly Sakura, I don't care anymore. Sakura was shocked to hear those words. So what are you saying, you don't like Sasuke-kun anymore? Woo, I win, she screamed, jumping up and down in the air. Chill out, Sakura, you're embarrassing us. Ino yelled in order to get her friend's attention. Sakura stopped jumping and they continued their walk. Sorry, but you're serious, you really don't like him anymore? Why? I mean he's cute yeah, but think about it Sakura when has he ever noticed one of us, looked at one of us or called us pretty or beautiful. I want someone who will notice me for me, or give me compliment just because he wanted to, not because he was asked to Ino asked her friend. Sakura begins a rant well, but Sasuke-kun he. Sakura stop Ino stop them walking and look directly in her face look I'm not telling you to not like the guy, but obsessing over him will cause you lose focus on your road to ninja. Ino stopped and looked into the blue sky. That's what I've decided she thought back to flashbacks of Takeru, causing her to blush. I'm not going to risk not paying attention to my ninja training over some guy who shows not even the slightest interest in me, just a warning you should do the same. Sakura was speechless at what her friend just said, and she wasn't dumb, she knew what Ino was saying was true, she would have to think about some things later. As the two girls continued walking they heard a noise getting closer and closer. Suddenly they heard laughter and looked up to see Naruto and Takeru racing on top of the rooftops towards the academy. As the two ran towards a lengthy gap, neither one was worried about not clearing it as they had the training, endurance and stamina to make it. Ino for a split second looked at Takeru as he leaned his head and looked at her, they both smiled. The boys cleared the jump and continued running. Ugh Naruto Baka and that other boy what was his name again Sakura asked. Takeru-kun Ino whispered hoping Sakura didn't hear her, but she did but chose not to say anything, and they finished walking to the school. Upon arrival they saw Takeru heading in the school celebrating while Naruto's head was down, indicating that he had lost the race. Ino smiled at that. All the young shinobi in training gathered in the classroom most were cluttered into groups talking with their friends. As Ino and Sakura entered the room they noticed the horde of fangirls gawking at Sasuke and even though she had heard what Ino said, Sakura still sauntered over to join them. Ino shook her head at her friend's antics, maybe she'd wake up one day. She then noticed a group at a table right under Sasuke's and it was Shikamaru, Choji, Naruto, Kiba and Akamaru and Takeru. She blushed and was about to go over there when Iruka walked in and told everyone to calm down and be seated. In the middle row on top sat Hyuga Hinata and she was looking at a certain blonde-haired boy while Iruka congratulated everyone. Naruto-kun I'm so happy you graduated the young Hyuga thought as she had come to admire the boy for his determination and his never give up attitude. All the genin will be grouped into 3-man squads, each squad will be led by a jonin and elite shinobi Iruka finished. Most of the genin eyes widened a 3-man squad. Sakura who was sitting below Ino's row whispered well someone's gotta be in Sasuke's group, I wonder who. The last Uchiha himself crossed his fingers and scowled a bit HMPH groups of 3 that'll only slow me down. Naruto thought to himself I'd like to be with Sakura and well Takeru or anybody. But that Sasuke team. I will now announce the teams Iruka said and quickly went through the first 5 team squads 6 Yodo Takeru, Kyaba Asuna and Kyaba Kirito. Takeru frowned a bit that he wasn't on the same team as Naruto or Ino and as he looked to his little brother, he could see the same look on his face. He then scanned the room and found his 2 teammates who appeared to be siblings. Ino's smile faded a bit so she wouldn't be on a team with Takeru bummer, but that wouldn't deter her from her mission of love she jokingly called it. Squad 7 Uzumaki Naruto, Hyuga Hinata and Uchiha Sasuke Iruka read from the list. Hinata's eyes widened huge. She must have been dreaming, this had to be a dream and if it wasn't thank Kami she thought. She felt lightheaded but stood strong, then looked down to the blonde hair boy who seemed defeated and she blushed and smiled, knowing that it was about Sasuke. All Naruto could say was damn it oh well I'll just have to deal with being on a team with Sasuke he thought as the 2 boys slightly glared at each other until Takeru placed a hand on his shoulder and shook his head no. Sakura frowned that she didn't get a chance to be on the same team as Sasuke, but at least she didn't have to be bothered with Naruto. Next squad 8 Haruno Sakura, Inyazuka Kiba and Aburam Shino and now squad 10 Yamanaka Ino, Naru Shikamaru and Akamichi Choji. Those are all of the squads after lunch, you'll meet your new jonin teachers until class dismissed. Outside, many of the children met up with their team to introduce themselves. Takeru waved goodbye to Naruto and walked upstairs to meet his teammates. He reached the last step and saw the brother and sister duo eating lunch. Hi Yodo Takeru we know, we heard the teacher call your name remember Kirito snarled. Kirito don't be so mean Asuna said smiling a little too hard at Takeru Asuna, and that Kirito nice to meet you wow, you're cute oops. Takeru blushed thanks I think he said wow these 2 are total opposites he's arrogant and a jerk, and she a carefree nutcase oh boy, I hope Naruto's having a better time than me oh wait, he's with Sasuke oh boy. With Naruto, an irritated Naruto, a blushing Hinata and a scowling Sasuke all sat on a bench, while Hinata and Naruto were Sasuke just standing beside them. Sasuke Naruto said a tad bit darkly. Sasuke picking up on the tone replied gruffly yeah. Look I don't like you and you don't like me, but if we're gonna be on the same team along with Hinata, then we all need to learn to work together Naruto finished. Sasuke's eyebrow twitched work together with this loser he'll only get in my way. Hinata began causing both boys to fix their eyes on her making her blush Naruto-kun is right, Sasuke and teamwork would make us a very effective team on the field. Naruto smiled at her and she quickly turned her head away from his beautiful blue eyes lest she faint where she sat. Well, I guess that makes sense fine, Sasuke relented, extending his hand to Naruto as an act of truce. Naruto accepted, causing Hinata to smile good, besides it didn't matter if you accepted or not, he said as he continued to shake Sasuke's hand, and they finally let go. Oh, and what's that supposed to mean, Sasuke asked. It didn't matter because Naruto said, smiling as his bangs covered his eyes. He then looked up, his smile gone, he had a face of pure seriousness, his voice dark because no one, not even you, will stop my progress and dream of becoming Hokage Dadabeo. Sasuke and Hinata's eyes widened at the tone of his voice as he made his claim. Naruto-kun is so determined. I want to help him fulfill that dream, Hinata voiced in her head, blushing a deep red. Sasuke smirked. Naruto, this guy means business, him just maybe. But the Yodos, all the kids met with their new teams, their Jonin senseis met their families. Welcome to our home, Hokage-sama, Haddock-san and Hade-kun, Mariah said, smiling. All the ones addressed bowed their respect and sat down at the table. So this is where Naruto-kun lives, Kakashi asked. Yes, Coffee and my godson Takeru have grown up here, Hade replied. Kakashi smiled. Yes, the two have grown together over the years they've known each other. Yes, it was a relief when Takeru learned of Naruto housing the Kyuubi that it didn't strain their relationship. We've come to love Naruto-kun as one of our own, Mariah added, as she brought out tea for everyone, to which Hade and Kakashi politely declined. Yes, Sarutobi started before taking a sip of his tea. I was grateful for that as well. Hokage-sama, Kakashi started. Yes, Kakashi, I know, Akashi-san, Mariah-san, I thank you for all you've done for Naruto-kun, you've given him a family and a proper raising. He paused. I think it's only fair for the boy to know his true heritage, and I plan to tell him once he has reached Chunin level. We've trained him in more advanced teachings, but what makes you think he'll make Chunin, Mariah asked, worried for her adopted grandson. I have faith, Mariah-san, and also Kakashi will be his Jonin teacher. He will train the boy to become stronger. He was trained by Naruto's father after all, Sarutobi replied. He deserves to know who his real parents are. Before he met us he was so lonely, and I feared what path he would have walked had he not met Takeru, Kashi said, as they all nodded and finished their tea. At the academy 2 hours later. Drrrr, he's late, Naruto said, pacing back and forth. Naruto-kun, it's alright, maybe he'll be here soon, Hinata stuttered while she sat politely waiting. Sasuke just sat at another table, his fingers crossed, waiting as well. He had to admit he shared Naruto's feeling about what kind of Jonin is this. A sound brought him out of his stupor, and he looked up to see Naruto placing a dirty eraser in the doorway. No way that would work. That's what he gets for coming late. I know I promised Abasan I'd stop with the pranks for a while, but this called for, he needs to learn his lesson, Naruto said, while Hinata blushed, giggling softly, even though she knew it was kinda wrong. Our teacher's a Jonin, an elite ninja, you think he'd fall for that, Sasuke said impassively. Suddenly a hand went to grab the door, and all three genin focused their eye toward it. Sure enough, the door opened, and the eraser fell upon the head of a white-haired man wearing a mask over his face, leaving one visible eye. Haha, I got him, he totally fell for it, Naruto chuckled. Sorry sensei, couldn't resist. He actually fell for that cheap trick. Is this guy really a Jonin, Sasuke thought. Kakashi picked up the eraser and looked at his three students. Naruto-kun, oh boy, this is going to be harder than I thought. He sighs. Guess I better address them, he thought. How can I put this? My first impression of this group unimpressive. All of their faces dropped. Naruto then noticed something, white hair in a spiky form. Where have I seen that before? Outside. Kakashi sat on a rail while the kid sat on the steps in front of him. Alright, why don't you introduce yourselves one at a time, say things you like, things you hate, your dreams and hobbies, things like that. Why don't you tell us stuff first, you know, since you were late, Naruto replied. Kakashi pointed a finger at himself. Me? Had a Kakashi, things I like and things I hate. I don't feel like telling you that. My dreams for the future, never really thought about it, and my hobbies, well, I have lots of hobbies. Well, that was useless. All you really told us was your name, Naruto fumed, but still I'm sure of it. This is that guy, the guy from that night. Okay, your turn, you on the right, you go first, Kakashi said, pointing to Naruto. Naruto simply crossed his fingers and smiled. Dadabeo im Uzumaki, Naruto, I like Ichiraku ramen, and I don't really hate anything. My hobbies are hanging out and training with my brother Takeru. He paused and closed his eyes, getting Kakashi's attention as well as his teammates, and my future dream. He opened his eyes and had the same serious face on, is to become the greatest Hokage there ever was. There it is again, that face and tone, Sasuke thought. Naruto-kun, Hinata blushed. Kakashi was stunned at the sudden switch. He's grown up in a very interesting way, and he wants to be Hokage just like his father. He thought. Alright, next. Hinata spoke in her soft voice. I am Hyuga Hinata, what I like are cinnamon rolls and I also like Her face turned a deep shade of red, but Kakashi caught her eye glancing at Naruto. I don't like crab or shrimp. My hobby is pressing flowers, and my future dream is to become strong. I want to become stronger. She's shy and quiet, but she wants to become stronger. I think we can do that, and it would seem she admires Naruto, and of course he's oblivious to it. Kakashi sighed. Alright, last one. Sasuke sat with his fingers crossed. My name is Uchiha Sasuke. I hate a lot of things, and I don't particularly like anything. What I have is not a dream, because I'm going to make it a reality. I'm going to restore my clan and kill a certain someone. Everyone sat there in silence thinking to themselves. Show off emo team, Naruto thought with a deadpan face. Sasuke and his words seemed so cold, Hinata wondered. Kakashi's face showed no emotion, just as I thought. He sighed. Good, you're each unique, can you have your own ideas? We'll have our first mission tomorrow. Awesome, time to get started. What kind of mission will we have, sensei? Naruto asked eagerly. It's a task that the four of us will do together. It will be a survival exercise. He paused, noticing both Sasuke and Naruto tense up and focus their eyes solely on him. Even Hinata had a slightly worried look on her face, but she was interested in listening. This is not like your previous training. So what kind of training is it then? Come get it on with it, Naruto asked in a monotone voice. He was ready for some action. Snarky brat, just like Kushina-chan, Kakashi thought as he began to chuckle darkly. If I tell you the answer, you're not going to like it. Of the 27 who just came here, only 10 will be accepted as Gen, and the other 17 will be weeded out and sent back to the academy. In other words, this is a make it or break it pass-fail test, and the chance that you'll make it is at least 66%. The three Genins' eyes widened and then were hidden by their hair. Kakashi noticed this and kept going. See, didn't I tell you, you wouldn't like it. We worked our asses off to get here, and then you give us this, Naruto said, his body visibly trembling. All I have left to say is bring it on, Databeo. We'll beat your stupid test. And his words seemed to have done the trick, Kakashi thought, as all three Genin, surprisingly even Hinata, had a look of determination on their face. Alright, then be at the designated training spot at 5 AM and bring your ninja gear. So a survival test, I won't be weeded out. We will win, Databeo. Naruto sat thinking with a smile on his face. If I fail, that will just prove father was right and I'll be separated from Naruto-kun. I'll do my best, Hinata thought to herself. If she really wanted to get stronger, then she would have to endure this. Sasuke just sat there as his hand trembled. He silently vowed that he would not fail. Alright, that's it, you're dismissed. Oh, and by the way, I'd skip breakfast if I were you, or you might puke, Kakashi warned before disappearing in a puff of smoke. Later that night, both Takeru and Naruto had returned home that day excited. After dinner and showers, they were both relaxing in Takeru's room. So hey, Ajisan is your sensei, man. You're lucky, at least you get someone you know, Naruto sighed, laying on floor looking at the. Don't be so sure, he may be my godfather, but he was my Kenjutsu teacher before, and now he's my team's Jonin teacher. He'll be even tougher on me, but I can take it, Takeru said proudly. Well, at least you don't have to do some stupid survival test in the morning, Naruto pouted. Takeru turned to his little brother. Don't be so sure. Damn it, you two are. Well, if they're anything like the drills grandpa put us through, I think we'll be okay, Naruto sighed. Because the number one rule of being a shinobi, Takeru started. Naruto stood up from the floor as teamwork. He finished. Speaking of teams, what's yours like? Naruto is a bit arrogant and his sister is a bit crazy, if you know what I mean. What about yours? Takeru replied. Sasuke is well at team, and Hinata, she's timid and shy, but she's also nice, and she wants to become strong. Naruto paused as he heard Takeru snicker. Oi, what's so funny, Take-chan? Naruto then dodged a pillow thrown at his head because Takeru hated being called that. Him laughing. Because you are so cool as Baka. About what? Naruto asked, confused. Hinata. Takeru replied, I mean, have you ever noticed her before, how she looks at you? Well, now that you mention it, she turns red or blushes, and then it hits Naruto like a ton of bricks. Does she like me? His wondered. Finally, it's about time you got it through that big head of yours. Alright, gotta be up early, see you in the morning. Back. Takeru stopped when the same pillow he threw was thrown back at his face. The next morning, April 7th, 4:50 AM rolled around, and at training ground 7, Sasuke, Hinata and Naruto all met up as the sun rose. Good morning, Naruto-kun, Sasuke and Hinata said softly while holding up her backpack. Naruto blushed thinking about what he and Takeru spoke about last night. Morning, Hinata-chan. He said with a smile. This caused Hinata's face to turn beet red. He turned to his other teammate. Morning, Sasuke. Sasuke grumbled something resembling a good morning. He's not here. Naruto sighed. I mean, really, what kind of teacher shows up late all the time? Yeah, well, we better wait for him, I guess. They all sat their ninja gear down and sat down on the ground. Hinata turned to Naruto and asked softly, so what do you think the survival test will be like? Well, if it's like the drills Akashi Ajayasen put me and Takeru through, there will be an objective that we will have to achieve with teamwork. HMPH, that makes sense. Why else were we put in 3-man squads? Sasuke replied. Just what kind of training did this guy receive, he wondered. Hinata timidly nodded her head. I agree. Naruto went into a thinking position. If we want to succeed, we need a plan, so what kind of jutsu and techniques do you guys know? Aside from the simple techniques we learned in the academy, I know a few fire-style jutsu, Sasuke said. Fire-style, huh, interesting. And what about you, Hinata-chan? Naruto said, trying to formulate a plan. A spot of crimson came upon Hinata's face as Naruto focused all his attention on her. She took in everything about him, the wild blonde mane atop his head, his cerulean blue eyes, the unique whiskers on his cheeks and his. Boy, Hinata-chan, hello, are you there? Naruto asked, blushing a bit. Hinata's face turned red at being caught staring at Naruto, and spacing out she quickly nodded. Hi, sorry Naruto-kun, I've been training in my family's taijutsu. Alright, and I have one wind-style jutsu and my shadow clones, Naruto replied quickly. Okay, now what? Sasuke asked as he stood with his arms crossed. So we have fire style, a super secret taijutsu, wind style and shadow clones. He paused to think for a while, then he began to smile deviously. I have a couple plans in mind, but they all depend on the actually test. Alright, here they are. Several hours later, the trio sat there in that spot for the longest of time, well, except for Sasuke. He stood the whole time. Naruto sat in a meditative state with a slightly irritated face, while Hinata sat waiting next to Naruto. Suddenly a cloud of smoke appeared and out stepped Kakashi. Good morning everyone, ready for your first day? Oh, you're late. Naruto burst out, causing Hinata to slightly giggle and Sasuke to glare at Kakashi. Well, a black cat crossed my path so I had to take the long way, Kakashi lied, and Naruto just growled. Well, he cleared his throat. Let's get started. He walks over to a stump and places a timer on it. It's set for noon. All three genin stare at the clock and wonder what their teacher could be planning and if it would go along with one of Naruto's plans. The sound of jingling bells brought them out of their stupor. Your assignment is very simple, you just have to take these bells from me, that's all there is to it, Kakashi said while he jiggled his bells a bit. If you can't get them by noon you go without lunch. He was interrupted when Naruto burst out. You'll be tied to those posts and you'll watch while I eat my lunch in front of you, Kakashi finished. All the genin slouched a bit as their stomachs growled at the thought of missing lunch. So that's why Sasuke thought he forewarned us not to eat, so it would be more difficult. Hinata sighed until something crossed her mind. Kakashi-sensei, there are only 3 of us, but there are only 2 bells, she asked softly. So that way at least one of you will end up tied to a post and ultimately disqualified for failing the mission. They go back to academy. He paused as Naruto growled. Then again all 3 of you could flunk out too. You use any weapons including shuriken. If you're not prepared to kill me, you won't be able to take the bells. Aren't those too dangerous, sensei? Hinata worried. Naruto chuckled. Yeah, since you couldn't even dodge that eraser. The kids didn't see it, but a tick mark appeared on Kakashi's forehead. Alright wise guy, just because you're my teacher's son doesn't mean I won't get under your skin, he thought, then said, class clowns are always the weakest links. You can safely ignore them losers. A tick mark grew on Naruto's head. Yeah, that got him worked up. Let's see what he does. When I say start you can begin. Naruto saw this as a perfect time to start. He growled, grabbed a kunai knife, swirled it around and charged. As he charged he was stopped. This caused both Hinata and Sasuke to gasp. Hinata, because she worried about Naruto, and Sasuke, because he didn't even see Kakashi move. Kakashi chuckled in his head. Just as I thought, so predictable. Naruto-kun. He held the hand that was holding the knife at the back of Naruto's neck while holding his head in place. Don't be in such a hurry, I didn't say start yet. He held Naruto in that position a bit long, unknowingly giving Naruto the chance to mouth to his teammates plan number 2. Sasuke and Hinata backed up slowly, giving a quick nod as Kakashi let Naruto go. He's so fast, Hinata wondered. So this is the power of a jonin, Sasuke thought. But you came at me with the full intention of killing me, so how can I say this? I'm actually starting to like you guys. Get ready and start. Kakashi chuckled as all 3 genin jumped off into different areas of the woods. Elsewhere. So here's the deal. This year I was given the task of picking out a new candidate for Takebetsu Jonin out of the 27 who graduated. Only one of you can get the spot, and instead of the normal survival test you will hunt and disarm each other. The one to get the other 2 team members will be my student. Hade explained. The Karu and the Kiyaba siblings gasped and then looked at each other. This kid doesn't look so tough. I already know my sister's weakness, Kirito thought as he sized Kakeru up. So this is my true test. I'll have to go lied. I don't want to actually kill them, so I spent that whole week finally learning my jutsu, only not to be able to use it. Fine, Kakeru sighed. Ready, begin, Hate yelled, and all 3 quickly leapt away from each other. Training ground 7. Kakashi stood out in the clearing. Ninja must know how to conceal their movement and hide effectively. Well, they understand that much, they've hidden well, Kakashi thought as he stopped and stared at the boy in front of him. You and me right now, fair and square, let's go, Naruto blurted out with his arms crossed, causing Kakashi to sweat drop and tilt his head. You know, compared to the others you're a little bit weird, Kakashi said. I mean really, come on Naruto, what would Akashi-sensei if he saw you like this? I thought he trained you better than this. Sticks and stones, sensei, he yelled as he rushed Kakashi and noticed him reach into his ninja pouch for something. This caused him to halt his advance. Shinobi Battle Techniques Part 1 Taijutsu, the physical part, Kakashi said. That's right, so why is he reaching for a weapon, Naruto thought. Kakashi pulled out a little orange book with a man and a woman on the cover. Naruto and Sasuke sweat dropped while Hinata's face turned super red. That's a Icha book, she thought, blushing really hard. What are you waiting for? Make your move, Kakashi said in a deadpan voice. I'm going to crush you. Naruto charges at his teacher who blocks and dodges his attacks while reading, and just when he thinks he had his teacher down for the count, Naruto punches the air. he thought. Don't let your enemies get behind you all the time, Kakashi said from behind Naruto. That's a tiger hand sign to focus his chakra, Hinata thought. Sasuke watched and noticed the hand sign. That hand sign is for a fire jutsu. Naruto finally noticed his teacher behind him. Too late, Kakashi warned as his visible eye gleamed. Konohagakure hide into jutsu Ogi. Senengarashi, Leaf Village secret finger jutsu. 1000 years of death. Naruto's face showed great displeasure as Kakashi pushed his fingers up inside Naruto's ass, but instead of shooting off into the lake, Naruto turned into a poof of smoke. A shadow clone. Well Naruto-kun, you have done some growing up, Kakashi thought. Then he noticed a shadowy figure coming from the woods. Lithurfu, that is a very nasty technique. I was smart to use my clone to test you, Kakashi-sensei, Naruto said, walking out of the woods, his arms crossed, eyes closed with a smirk on his face. Testing me, huh? I thought I was supposed to be testing you, Kakashi asked. Naruto opened his eyes. Fine, get ready for round 2, sensei. Naruto crossed his fingers to make the clone seal Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. A multitude of smoke appeared and 101 Narutos appeared surrounding Kakashi. So the rumors are true, he can use shadow clones, and quite a bit to him. This should be interesting, Kakashi thought as he prepared for battle. Alright, so far so good, everything's going according to plan. Alright, let's begin, Naruto thought as he ordered his clone army to attack. Elsewhere, I wonder where Takeru-kun went. It sucks that I have to beat him to become a ninja, but Asuna thought out loud until she heard a twig snap. Who's there? A shadowy figure slowly walked out of the woods, and to Asuna's surprise, it was a shirtless Takeru. Oh my, Takeru-kun, you look so hot, Asuna said dreamily. Asuna-chan, I want to be yours and yours alone, Takeru said in the smoothest voice. Asuna blushed heavily. Oh my, she said as she watched the little sunspots glisten of his shirtless skin. Suddenly more and more Takerus came out of the woods shirtless and all started walking up to her, letting her feel their shirtless bodies. There were hearts in her eyes and soon it became too much for her and she let out a loud girlish scream and passed out with a nosebleed. Up in the tree, the real fully clothed Takeru face palmed himself. I don't know what's worse, that she fell for my genjutsu or that I used a similar jutsu to Naruto. Geez, he hopped down from the tree and proceeded to tie her up. Naruto was jumping from tree to tree looking for either his sister or Takeru when he heard a loud scream. So he got to her first. Well, that saves me the trouble of taking out my own sister now to just get rid of this clown. He kept jumping for a while till he saw Takeru standing in a small clearing inside the forest. Oh, he's going down, Kirito said as he pulled out some shuriken and threw them at an unsuspecting Takeru, only for it to poof into a log. Hidden in the trees above Takeru smiled Gotcha Baka Katen. Hibashiri, fire release. Running fire. Kirito looked up, but it was too late as a long stream of fire was running down the side of a tree, then on the ground headed for him. He tried his best to jump and dodge, but it seemed like the fire was endless and locked on him. Soon, he tripped up and landed hard with his back against the tree. The fire took the form of a dragon and headed right for him. Pei-8 was sitting on a rock in the clearing waiting for a victor when he heard the second scream of the day. He chuckled to himself, this should be interesting, and I think it's just about over. Sure enough, Takeru walked into the clearing with both siblings tied up and knocked out. He sat them down and sighed. So did I pass, Pei-8 sensei? Training ground 7. They just kept coming. Kakashi had to admit that as he kicked, punched and dodged many Naruto clones. I wonder how long you can keep this up, Naruto, he asked. As long as it takes to get those bells, all the Narutos yelled. Kakashi continued to be on defense. Suddenly 2 out of the multitude attacked him head on, but there was something different about these 2, they moved in sync. Kakashi caught one's leg as it threw a kick and then caught the other one's punch and pushed them both away. That's all you got. One of the 2 clones he was just fighting performed a few hand signs and called out Katen. Gakakyu no Jutsu, fire release. Great fireball technique. What? Genin can't do fire jutsu, takes too much chakra. There's no way. Kakashi seemed truly surprised. As Naruto blew fire from his mouth, it formed into a fireball, then the other Naruto yelled Futen. Stremu, wind release. Stream, he inhaled a large amount of air and then blew it aimed at the fire, turning the medium-sized fireball into a large one. Kakashi's visible eye widened. They've really got the whole gist of if you're not prepared to kill me part, he thought as he sank into the ground as the fire hit the spot where he was standing. All the Narutos looked around and could find no Kakashi. Suddenly one of the clone's legs was grabbed and he was taken into the ground. This surprised all the other Narutos and they jumped away, a couple going into the water. Kakashi resurfaced and took out more clones, then turned to the one in the ground as it struggled to get free. As it struggled, the clone was able to maneuver its hands enough to perform a seal. So which one are you, real or clone? Kakashi asked as the clone poof out and Sasuke was left in place. Well, so you were the one who pulled that fireball jutsu, impressive kid. While Kakashi taunted Sasuke, deep in the woods, 2 figures were preparing their attack. The real Naruto and Hinata spoke softly. Naruto-kun, are you sure about this? What if I mess up? Hinata asked softly. Hey, you'll do great, Hinata-chan, I believe in you, Dadabayo. Now let's go, Naruto replied, and that seemed to quell her nervousness a bit as she placed her feet in his cupped hands. hoisted her in the air towards the clearing where Kakashi was. While flying through the air she activated her Kekkei Genkai Byakugan. So you transformed into Naruto and thought to take me by surprise, I'm clever, but it didn't work now I wonder where Naruto and Hinata are. Kakashi asked, looking left or right. It's not over yet Sasuke said with a smirk as he too poofed away replaced with a log. But Kakashi yelled till he heard something he looked in the sky and could see something, but it was blurry due to the sun blocking a bit of his view. As it got closer he could see it was Hinata coming down like a missile with an open hand strike that glowed. Oh no, that's the Hyuga clan's Taijutsu Kakashi said preparing to move. The young Hyuga let her battle cry out, she knew that her attack wasn't strong enough to do real damage yet, but if it would help Naruto-kun's plan, then she would use it. Kakashi jumped back before the attack hit him, and Hinata almost hit the ground before a blur swept her away. Someone caught her Kakashi thought still in mid-dodge he hadn't landed yet, but he noticed it was Naruto as he held Hinata up bridal style oh that's cute and the sound of air whizzing by him brought he out of his stupor as he noticed Sasuke passing him practically grazing his size. Going the other way both men landed and Sasuke was joined by his two teammates. Well you three seem to be on top of things, but you'd better hurry it's almost noon, Kakashi said as he noticed them just standing there all with a smile on their face what's so funny. Naruto nodded and both Sasuke and Hinata held up the two bells in their hands. Kakashi froze for a moment before his visible eye almost popped out of his head as he looked down at his side and sure enough they had gotten the bells he turned around and saw a clone standing on the water disappear. What? But how? Hinata started this was possible because of Naruto-kun's plan. Yeah the little knucklehead's plan actually worked Sasuke smiled. Oh really and care to elaborate on this plan? Naruto Kakashi asked smiling he was proud to have been slightly bested by his students. Well this was actually plan 2 of 3, we had no idea what you were planning, so once I assessed everyone's strengths and weaknesses, I improvised after explaining his entire plan to his sensei Naruto stopped with a smile, and that's how we got the bells from you. Kakashi was utterly shocked his student had come with this plan to utilize teamwork to achieve their goal, and the team executed it perfectly. Akashi-san trained and raised him well, he put his brain to work and came out on top very good Naruto-kun. Well I must say I am very impressed with all of you. You worked together, you understood why we placed you on squads. This test was meant to test your teamwork, and all three genin awaited his next words on bated breaths. You passed Kakashi finished all three genin froze before. Alright. Naruto jumped in the air as Sasuke just smirked and Hinata held her hand to her heart. I passed I'm a ninja now she smiled. We're all ninja now Hinata-chan Naruto said still very much excited. Kakashi gave an eye smile I'm proud of you all, you're the first squad that ever succeeded, the others did exactly what I said and fell into every trap. A ninja must see through deception in the ninja world, those who break the rules are scum that true, but those who abandon their friends are worse than scum. HMPH we're all on this squad Sasuke started. And we're all in this together Hinata added softly. That's right the three of us are one Databayo. Naruto said excitedly as he wrapped his arms around his teammates' necks. Sasuke smirked and quickly pushed him off, Hinata on the other hand fainted. Luckily it was a short spell, and once she woke up Kakashi smiled. The test is over everyone passes squad 7 starts its first mission tomorrow, Kakashi finished with a thumbs up let's go home. Later that night, congratulations rang throughout the Yodo house as the Yodos, Hade, Kakashi, Iruka and even the Hokage celebrated Takeru and Naruto. And that's how we got the bells from Kakashi-sensei Naruto bragged as Kakashi sweat dropped and the other laughed. Well it's getting late, but before we wrap up this party I think Akashi-kun has something for both you boys. Alright today you are finally Konoha Shinobi the road will get rough, so in order for you to be prepared for that road, we give you these, Akashi started as he picked up a long case and handed it to Takeru. For my grandson. Takeru opened the case and saw that it was a large black sword with a green orb at the top, suddenly tears fell slowly from his face Ajaisen this is, your mother's chakra sword was made by your father. It only feels right to give this weapon to you once you became a genin, and Akashi was stopped when Takeru ran up and hugged him sobbing. Thank you Ajaisen Takeru said sobbing to Sakasen, I promise to make you proud he silently vowed to his mother as he wiped the tears from his face and took his seat. Now for Naruto-kun Akashi smiled a scroll containing a new Futon Jutsu to help keep you on your toes out in the field, may it serve you well. Awesome thank you Jiji. Naruto said as he smiled a wide foxy smile. The night got late and soon one by one they began to leave as Kakashi was leaving through the front door and much to his surprise Naruto was waiting for him leaning on a tree. Ah my new student, what can I do for you Naruto? Kakashi said reading his little orange book as he walked past him and stopped an inch past the tree. Sensei, were you ever in the Anbu Black Ops? Naruto asked almost quietly. Kakashi paused. Not that I recall. What makes you ask that? Naruto sighed sadly at the memory. I was just thinking about the past and the day me and Takeru were attacked because of Naruto paused and looked at his stomach. What's inside me? And we were saved by the captain of the Anbu. And he oddly enough had sliver spiky hair just like you Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi sighed. Whoever said this kid was dim-witted truly underestimated him. It would seem you figured it out. Well, part of it anyway. Look Naruto-kun, yes it was me. I was charged to look after you, but that's all I can say for now, and he stopped when he was hugged by the blonde. Thank you sensei. Naruto released him and smiled another foxy grin. That's all I wanted to say was thanks to the man who saved me and my best friend's life. Naruto-kun. Kakashi smiled as he turned around and with a chase thumbs up and an eye smile replied Yosh. And disappeared in a smoke bomb. Naruto smiled and then yawned and returned to his room after bidding everyone a good night. He settled in his bed and was soon fast asleep. Well within the night Naruto tossed and turned in his bed, large beads of sweat rolled down from his forehead as he heard a strange dark voice. Naruto, Naruto. Over and over the voice continued to haunt his dreams and he quickly sat up in his bed sweating huffing gasping for air. What the hell is going on he thought wiping the sweat from his forehead. He laid back down and tried shifting his thoughts to his new life, his family, his friends and his new teammates. He found it a bit easier to sleep and slept the rest of the night unmoved. 3 weeks later, April 28, after weeks of training and doing several very unpleasant D-rank missions, Naruto and his squad were finally given a C-rank mission, and he was preparing to leave for that very mission. So after all that time yelling about wanting a bigger and better mission you have one, are you ready? Takeru asked his little brother while handing him the last of his ninja gear for his backpack. Are you kidding me? I'm more than ready, I'm excited Naruto said putting his backpack on. Is everything in here? Takeru smiled. Yep, and a little something extra should you run into trouble. Be careful Naruto and don't go dying on me, you hear he said, placing his fist out. Hey I'm Uzumaki Naruto, I won't die till I've become Hokage Databeo. He replies bumping fist with his brother. Same goes for you Nai-san. Of course Takeru smiled and with that Naruto left for the main gate and then left with his team. Takeru went out for a walk throughout the village. He was wearing his ninja gear as he had a training session with his sensei godfather in a couple of hours, so he was trying to find a way to pass the time. While he walked through the busy streets he noticed something. Some people were glaring at him and murmuring to each other while doing it. Takeru wasn't stupid, he knew why they were glaring and it truly pissed him off. Fucking Bakas, this is the same look they give Naruto-kun because of the Kyuubi, and do it me, Ajayasan and Abasan, because he's become part of our family. Well fuck them all he thought as his feet had unknowingly taken him to Yamanaka Hana, Yamanaka Flowers. He smiled as the thought of seeing Ino made him happy. He walked into the shop and noticed Ino's beautiful platinum blonde hair behind the counter. She hadn't noticed him, so she decided to surprise her. Excuse me miss he said masking his voice. Just a second sir she replied. I'm looking for a rare flower. See it's for someone special he continued. Oh that's sweet, who for? Ino beamed but was still attending to the flower she was handling with her back turned. Well she's a Kenwaichi with the most sparkling teal eyes, she loves purple, oh, and her platinum blonde hair is truly amazing. He paused. Ino stopped messing with the flower and smiled as she began to recognize the voice. Oh and most importantly she is beauty personified. Takeru smiled wide. Ino turned around and her thoughts were confirmed. It was indeed Takeru-kun she thought blushing thinking about all he just said about her. And I think I've just found the rarest flower of them all. Good morning Ino-chan he smiled. Good morning Takeru-kun, what are you doing up so early? She asked giggling at the slight corniness, but she still thought it was cute. Well Naruto-kun left for his mission about 20 minutes ago, and since I had a training session in a couple hours, I didn't see the need to go back to sleep, and I decided to go for a walk and somehow ended up here he replied. So you didn't come all this way to see me? She asked hoping that wasn't the case. Maybe he smiled. I'm just kidding, I hadn't seen you since orientation and I wanted to, so here I am Takeru said blushing a bit. So how are things with your team? Ino's sweat dropped and sighed. Asuma-sensei is really cool and laid back, Choji always has his hand deep in a bag of chip, and Shikamaru well, he's as lazy as ever. Takeru smiled and laughed. Yay, that sounds about right for Choji and Shikamaru. Seems some things will never change. You're right, so what about you, how is your team? Ino asked while giggling. Oh I don't really have a team he said nonchalantly. I thought you had those siblings on your team? Ino asked confused. He smiled. Well Squad 6 was a special case. My sensei was to find only one candidate to train to become a Takebetsu Jonin, and we had to fight against each other. As you can see I was victorious. He gave a thumbs up. Wow that's cool. He sheepishly rubbed the back of his head. Well yeah, but that means I'll be skipping D and going straight to C and B rank missions. Ino looked at his eyes. Are you scared? It wouldn't be, but as a Konoha shinobi I will place my fears aside for my village, he said smiling sounding noble. Takeru-kun she thought concerned for him. He then chuckled. Plus I feel that knowing I have something or someone to protect and come home to helps me fight better. Oh and who do you have to come back to? She asked, wondering who he would say. Hikaru smiled. He could hear the flirtiness in her question. Well, there's my grandparents, Naruto-kun, my sensei and fellow comrades, and well he blushed. Ino's face turned a deep shade of red, and she saw that he saw at me, quickly trying to find some way to change the subject and regain her composure. Come train with me. She blurted out. He asked with a face of pure confusion. Wow, a girl that actual wants to train, that's hot, he thought with a small blush. Train with me, my team had today off, and I'm pretty much done with my duties here, so I have the rest of the day to myself, and I wanna train, plus it would loosen you up for your session, Ino said calmly. Alright, let's do it, sounds fun, but don't think I'll hold back on you just because you're beautiful. She blushed as he walked to the door. Meet me at training ground 6 in 10 minutes, see you there, and with that he left. Ino quickly shot upstairs to her room and looked for something to wear. What should I wear? She searched and searched. Low, that should do the trick. She smirked the most devilish smirk. 10 minutes later at TG6. Hikaru made it to the training ground quickly, thanks to the training to increase his speed Hate was giving him, so he sat under the shade of a tree in meditation waiting for Ino. Suddenly he felt a chakra signature closing in on him, but he recognized it and didn't tense. Glad you could make it, Ino-chan, he said, surprising her. He still had his eyes closed. She smirked. So he sensed me coming. Well then this should get him back. Told you I'd come, so are you gonna open your eyes or not? He opened his eyes and was shocked at what he saw. Ino was wearing purple training shorts that came up to her high inner thigh and a white sports bra that was very tight. Needless to say, he was speechless. Oh wow, that's priceless. He's speechless. Well, good to know I have that effect on him, she thought. Take-kun, are you alright? She asked in an innocent manner. Quickly trying to stifle the oncoming nosebleed, he quickly stood up and turned to cough. Yes, I'm fine. So what did you want to train in? The black-haired boy asked, taking off his sword and setting it against the tree, still not turning around. Well, I wanted to work on Taijutsu, mine it pretty much sucks right now, and you scored the second highest grade behind Sasuke, so I figured you could help me out, us being friends and all. Ino said, beginning to stretch her body and limbs. Hikaru smiled and slowly turned around, wishing he didn't, as he immediately saw her bending over to stretch her legs and was giving a very nice view of her ass. Ino knew what she was doing. She had been flirting and now has shifted to seducing, not that she needed to, as it was evident to both parties that they liked each other. She just thought it was fun to mess with him. Hikaru quickly wiped his nose while she finished stretching. Who too can play this game, although she is in the lead, he thought as he undid his obi and removed his sleeveless jacket, leaving him shirtless as he reached into his bag. Ino finished her last stretch and turned around and nearly melted. She stared at his shirtless back as he wrapped his arms in ninja wraps. Oh wow, all the training he does him very well. I wonder how it'll look when he's older, she thought, her face red as she quivered as he turned around and exposed his chest. Hey, do you want some bandage wrap? He paused and saw her staring. Oi, Ino-chan, oi. Ino snapped back from her lustful train of thought. Oh, I'm sure, she said, embarrassed at having been caught staring. She caught the wrap and began to wrap her arms while they walked to the middle of the clearing. So how about we get started, he said, getting into a simple stance. She followed suit and got into the academy Taijutsu stance. Wanna make it interesting? Ino asked cockily. Hikaru's eyebrow quirked. I'm listening, he said as the two shinobi circled each other. If I can land one hit on you or pin you to the ground first, then I know you have to take me out on a date for a whole day next time we're off, Ino said, smiling, sounding confident. Hikaru chuckled. Sounds like fun, but what do I get if I pin you down? Ino smirked. Well, what do you want, Take-kun? I'll tell you after I win. Now let's. He inched back a bit. Begin, he called out as he dashed towards Ino. It startled her for a bit and all she could do was evade and dodge. Wait a minute, you're going too fast, Ino yelled. What happened? Ino-chan, you sounded so confident a second ago. I thought you wanted me to take you out. Hikaru mocked. Ino took that to heart and attacked him, sending him on the defensive. She threw a series of punches and kicks and he dodged them all. I'm going to get you, she yelled as she readied her final blow. In the next instant she was on the ground, her hair upheaved, her hands constricted by Hikaru's hands, his face only inches from hers and his body hovering over hers. Wanna know a secret, Ino-chan? He leaned down to her ear, a red blush upon her cheeks at how close he was to her. She squirmed, trying to get free, while on the other hand, she secretly enjoyed this. Both Naruto-kun and I promised our grandfather that we'd hold back our level of Taijutsu while training in the academy, Hikaru whispered in her ear. Her eyes widened. That's the only reason Sasuke got the #1 spot. Ino gasped, still squirming under his grasp. Just how strong are you? She asked. It's not about how strong I am. We trained hard every day under the teachings of the academy and our grandfather. We trained hard so that we would survive in this ninja world. We trained hard so that one day we could both achieve our dreams. He paused. Having the motivation, the will to achieve our goals is what drives us. "And what is your dream?" Takeru-kun, Ino, moved by his words, asked, staring deep into his eyes. "Simple, to be strong enough to always protect my precious people," he smiled, but the tone in his voice sounds so serious and sincere. "By the way, Ino-chan, I win." Wow, his words were so serious. He means to achieve his dream. No matter what, could I have the same motivation? Do I even have a dream? She silently pondered, and then in an innocent voice asked, "Yes, you did, so what do you want from me?" Takeru leaned in closer, their faces only inches away. "Well, I was already going to ask you out on a date had you won or not, but what I really want," he paused, and she gulped, "is a kiss." They finally closed the gap between their lips. Ino's eyes widened. "My first kiss? Takeru is kissing me?" His lips so warm. She relaxed and quickly joined in the kiss. Takeru released her hands as she snaked them around his neck, pulling him more into the kiss. "Her lips are so sweet and soft," he thought as they continued their first kiss. The need for air was too great, and they parted lips. That was he started, a heavy blush evident on his face. "Amazing," she finished, her cheeks a shade of red. "Take-kun W. Ino-chan, will you be my girlfriend?" he asked quickly. She smiled softly, her face getting even more red, and nodded her head. "Yes, I will." "What took you so long?" she asked, regaining a bit of her fiery side, a side with Takeru adored. Both genin smiled and kissed again quickly this time. Takeru stood up and helped his girlfriend up off the ground. "What if I helped you with taijutsu and anything else you need on our off days whenever I have the chance? You can never have too much training." "I'd like that." She paused and blushed. "So I guess this mean we're dating now?" she giggled. Takeru had a blush on his face as he rubbed the back of his head. "Yes, I guess it does. So the next time we're both off from training and missions I spend the entire day with you," he said, regaining a bit of his smooth composure. Ino practically squealed and wrapped her arms around her boyfriend. Finally she had gotten her prize. She was going to start another makeout session until a certain someone cleared their throat, followed by a cough. Takeru and Ino turned around to see Hate leaning against a tree coughing, but with a clear smirk on his face. Ino turned 5 deep shades of red, as did Takeru from being caught by his godfather. Good morning to Sen, I mean Hate-san, I mean Hate-sensei," Takeru greeted, obviously flustered. Ino, slightly hiding behind her boyfriend, giggled at his antics. "Good morning Takeru, and to you." "Cough, Yamanaka-san, mind if I ask?" "Cough, what's going on here?" Hade asked in a deep voice, clearly enjoying messing with his godson. "Takeru here was just helping me with my taijutsu training." "Yay, that's it, taijutsu training," Ino blurted out, trying to hide her embarrassment. I think I'm going to just leave now, goodbye Take-kun." "You're welcome to stay and cough watch our training session cough if you'd like," Hade said, moving from the tree towards his godson and the young Kunoichi. "I'd like that, but I need to get back home. Thanks for helping me today Take-kun." She quickly runs up and places a kiss on her boyfriend's cheek and saunters off, knowing that out of the corner of his eye, Takeru was looking. Once Ino had left, Hate placed his hand on his godson's shoulder. "Well then cough, it's good to see you helping your fellow comrade cough, and I'm sure it had nothing to do with the fact cough that you like her." Yeah, sure, what do you say we get started? Besides, you said you'd teach me my first kenjutsu technique." "Alright then cough, let's get started cough. Oh, and by the way, we're going cough to have a talk afterwards cough about you and your girlfriend." Takeru's only response was an audible gulp. "Oh." A week later, May 6th, in the first week of May, Naruto and Squad 7 returned from their mission with new perspectives about the lives of shinobi. Once in the village, Kakashi told them they had the next 2 days off and vanished to go report to the Hokage. Sasuke went home to sulk about what happened during the mission, leaving Hinata and Naruto alone. He offered to walk her home, and she nervously obliged. "Finally we're home, I can't wait to get some ramen. How about you, Hinata-chan?" Naruto asked with a foxy grin. Hinata blushed as his attention fell on her. I am glad we're home too." "Hey Hinata-chan?" Naruto asked, walking. "Why yes Naruto-kun," she replied. "I was just wondering why you stutter like that. I mean, you were so brave on this last mission and you've gotten stronger, I just wondered, that's all." He asked, unaware of the thoughts going through her head. "Naruto-kun called me brave and strong, he thinks I'm brave, but I'm not. I can't even admit my feelings for him. Why can't I? He's standing right next to me, he's on the same team as me, so why can't I tell him I like him?" She was brought out of her train of thought by Naruto, placing his hands on her shoulders, shaking her a bit. "Boy Hinata-chan, are you okay?" "Hello," Naruto asked. Hinata blushed at his touch. Why yes mf fine Naruto-kun, oh we are here." Naruto looked behind him to see the Hyuga estate. "Oh yeah, you're right, well I guess I'll see you later then," he said, not minding that she didn't answer her question, chalking it up to her being nervous about something. He then brought her into his embrace for a short hug, then releasing her and run off waving goodbye. Hinata stood in a petrified state. "Naruto-kun just hugged me," was all that went through her mind over and over again. The young Hyuga heir took several slow steps as blackness threatened to overtake her eyes, but she fought it long enough to make it to her room and faint with the biggest smile on her face. With Naruto, after making a quick stop and dropping something at his old apartment now used as weapons and items storage for him and Takeru, he headed home. As he entered, he was greeted by Mariah. "Oh Naruto-kun, you're back," she paused to yell out to the backyard. "Oi Take-chan, Naruto is back, so how did the mission go?" It went well Bachan, we got the bridge builder back home safe and sound and protected him while he finished. Naruto explained shortly before Takeru entered the room. The two brothers bumped fist. Welcome back Naruto-kun. Takeru smiled. Naruto chuckled, glad to be back Nissan. Jiraiya smiled at her two boys. Yosh, you two go upstairs and get relaxed. Kakashi-kun will be home shortly, then I'll get dinner started. Both boys went upstairs and chose to chill in Naruto's room while Naruto changed shirts. Takeru sat on the bed. So you gonna tell me what really happened on the mission? Takeru asked sternly. What do you mean? I just told Bachan what happened, Naruto explained. Takeru sighed. No you didn't, you just told her a non-detailed version. I can see in your eye something happened, something major. Now tell me. Naruto sighed. There was no getting past his brother, he let his mind wander back to the beginning. Flashback. So as we were walking the old fart back to the wave, we continued to walk and idly chat, while I ignored the old man and his constant short jokes. Well, I tried. After we walked over a wooden bridge, we walked upon a small puddle in our path. It was easy enough to walk past it, but I noticed something amiss. It hadn't rained in that part of the land in a while, so why would there be a puddle? Suddenly we heard a loud noise and turned to see two ninja covered in a black cloak coming out of the puddle. One was quickly heading for us. He shot some sort of chain from a contraption on his hand. They wrapped it around Kakashi-sensei. Ugh, Kakashi groaned as the two ninjas' spike chain wrapped tightly around his body. Hinata gasped in a soft voice. Oh no. Hey, what? The Naruto began to scream before he saw Kakashi's visible eye wink. Both ninja pulled tightly and sliced the jonin into little bits and pieces that just slumped to the ground. Everyone was in shock. Kakashi-sensei. Naruto yelled out, but soon stopped as the two ninja appeared quickly behind him. Now it's your turn, one of the ninjas said as they were about to attack Naruto. Naruto-kun. Hinata yelled, worried. Naruto smiled. Sasuke now. He yelled as the ninja attempted to slice Naruto down to size. The boy poofed into smoke and they saw it was a shadow clone, but it was too late as Sasuke jumped in the air, grabbed a shuriken and kunai, and threw the shuriken into the middle of the chain, lodging it into a tree. He then tossed the kunai into the shuriken hole, securing that it wouldn't move. I can't get loose, one ninja said as he attempted to yank himself free. Sasuke landed on the two ninjas' metal arms and used one as leverage to kick both in the face. While they fell, they released the chain and quickly ran towards the bridge builder. Hinata bravely stood in front of them, her Dojutsu activated. I have to be strong, she silently prayed as she took her famous stance. Stay behind me, Tazuna-sensei said as the ninja got closer, and with incredible speed Naruto out of nowhere stepped in between Hinata and the oncoming ninja, ready to protect her. He prepared a Futen jutsu as the ninja closed in fast, only to be stopped in his tracks by a close line from Kakashi choking him, who stood there with the other ninja already dispatched. The Kakashi greeted like nothing even happened. Kakashi-sensei, he's alive, thank Kami. Hinata silently thanked. One single thought was on both Sasuke and Naruto's mind. Damn show off. They protected me after all. The old man thought. Kakashi gathered his team around. Good job you three, very smooth, and Naruto, good job noticing my sign and playing the part. Just doing my job, sensei, Naruto said, smiling at the praise. Hinata smiled and Sasuke smirked. Well then, here's a new job. If I am gone or incapacitated, you are in command of Team 7. He turns to Sasuke and Hinata. That's mean you are to follow his lead. Understood. Both Genin nodded, and Naruto was in slight shock that Kakashi would trust him with this much responsibility. Now Mr. Tazuna, we need to talk. As we reached the shore and made our way to Tazuna's house, we were almost beheaded by a large Zanbato belonging to Mamachi Zabuza. He and Kakashi-sensei engaged in an awesome fierce battle. While we protected the old man, Kakashi showed off his Sharingan, but soon got captured in a water prison jutsu, and Zabuza came after us, but I had a little surprise for him, thanks to you, Nissan. Naruto looked around at his situation. Sasuke was just getting up from being thrown back by the Zabuza clone, and he had ordered Hinata to stay close to the old man, and his headband was still under that monster's foot. I am a ninja now, I will not run away. Naruto charged right for Zabuza only to be knocked back. Naruto-kun. Hinata yelled again. Naruto, no. Kakashi spat out while trapped. Hinata looked down at him. Naruto-kun, why did you do that, she asked. Then she noticed he had his headband back. The headband, that's what he wanted. Oh, Naruto-kun. Naruto stood up with blood dripping down his chin. Now that I have my headband back we can really, he smirked, wiping the blood away. Get this party started. You're a cocky little brat, aren't you, Zabuza? He was starting to kinda like this kid. Kinda. That because I'll never back down. My name is Uzumaki. Naruto Dadabeo. His face turned serious and his tone darkened, almost as if dripping with bloodlust, and I'm the one who will become Hokage. Everyone noticed it, but Zabuza actually flinched at the tone. He shivered. This kid, those eyes, that tone, I like it. There's that tone again, looks like he's about to get in gear. I just hope they can pull it off. Kakashi wondered. Team 7 formation Alpha 5. Naruto orders his teammates. Hinata remained in front of Tazuna with kunai in hand. She activated her Dojutsu and kept a scan of the area. Naruto jumped back behind Sasuke as he took the front point. Alright, let's get wild, Sasuke, go. Sasuke quickly moved to attack Zabuza and was quickly knocked back. Zabuza followed and slammed his elbow in the boy's gut. Dead away from him Kage Bunshin no Jutsu Naruto called out as about 45 clones appeared surrounding Zabuza. Shadow clones and there's quite a few of them Zabuza thought. Here we go all the clones called out as they jumped Zabuza giving Sasuke the time to escape. The clones were no match for Zabuza as with one swipe of his sword destroyed them all. The real Naruto grabbed something out of his bag tossing it to his teammate Sasuke now. I've got it Sasuke said as he grabbed the Fuma Shuriken so, that's the plan huh not bad Naruto, Zabuza said. Fuma Shuriken Sasuke called out as he opened the windmill-like weapon. Shuriken you'll never touch me with that Zabuza mocked. With great speed Sasuke disappeared and reappeared in the sky and tossed the massive shuriken towards the demon of the mist. The Zabuza clone stood there till he noticed it wasn't coming for him, but headed for the real Zabuza. So you passed the clone and aimed for my real body smart but not smart enough he said as he caught the shuriken dead in its tracks. Ha he gasped as another shuriken was headed his way a second shuriken, a shadow of the first, the shadow shuriken jutsu. The second shuriken is sure to hit, he can't catch this one Hinata thought, as both Naruto and Sasuke looked on to see if their plan worked. The shuriken got closer until Zabuza jumped over it. I told you shuriken couldn't touch me he mocked. All of Team 7 smirked as the shuriken flew past him and poofed into Naruto, who then threw a kunai headed right for Zabuza. Eat this Futon. Rapusho, wind release. Gompom, Naruto shouted as he clapped his hands together and compresses the wind into a powerful gale, increasing the speed of the kunai tenfold. What? Zabuza was shocked as the kunai ripped across his right eye socket. Zabuza howled in pain as he released the water prison jutsu. After that he and Kakashi re-engaged in battle, and Kakashi-sensei had the upper hand till a masked kid claiming to be a Anbu from the hidden mist swooped in and seemingly killed him. Afterward Kakashi collapsed from overuse, and we had to take up refuge at Izuna's house. While there we trained in learning chakra control, and because of Ajayasen's teaching, I helped Sasuke and Hinata with it. I met this boy out in the forest and we talked. He seemed nice, and soon we found ourselves face to face with Zabuza again on the bridge, along with a masked kid who turned out to be the same boy I met. The guy had a rare ice keke jinkai and trapped me and Sasuke in some kind of mirror. He fired a fatal blow aimed at me, but Sasuke took the hit and something happened. Naruto grunted as rolled on his side he could feel the needles from earlier sticking in his body, his plan hadn't worked. He looked up to see two sights, the one called Haku was down on the ground and in between the killer and Naruto stood Sasuke bruised but still standing. HNG your plan failed Naruto it seems HNG you still get in my way the Uchiha smirked as he struggled to stay up. He wouldn't admit it out loud, but in some form he came to respect Naruto for his ability to form plans to work. It just seemed that this opponent was out of their league, and that stung Sasuke more than all the senbon needles in his body. Sasuke you got him Naruto stopped as his eyes widened at the amount of needles in his teammate's body. Sasuke turned his head and Naruto could see the blood dripping down his lips. You should see your face right now. Why did you save me that wasn't part of the plan Naruto asked shakingly. Sasuke grunted I don't know why I just did he flashed back to all the memories of him and Naruto and their rivalry you I hated you, but then we became Team 7 and you showed your determination. Damn it Sasuke I didn't ask for this, I didn't ask to be saved Naruto yelled out. My body just moved there was no time to think Naruto he gasped as he fell backwards only for Naruto to catch him. Sasuke. Naruto cried trying to keep his teammate friend alive. Sasuke looked Naruto dead in the eyes and for the first time Naruto could see the pain of loneliness and suffering, a pain Naruto knew all too well. He's still out there my brother I promised myself I'd stay alive until I killed him. Sasuke's eyes quivered as he spoke his final words Naruto don't let your dream die and with his final breath, Sasuke was gone. Naruto's eyes widened as Sasuke's hand went limp and his head fell to his side, his eyes welled with tears and he brought the boy into his embrace. Haku slowly rose up and looked at the sight before him. He recalled the moment before this he found the strength he didn't realize he had. Why because of a certain person who was precious to him to save that person he rushed in knowing it was a trap he was a true ninja worthy of honor. Is this the first time you've seen a friend die in battle? This is part of what it means to be a ninja Haku said as he began to merge back into his mirror. Shut the hell up the blonde genin replied, his voice dripping with bloodlust. He turned to his friend placing him down on the ground slowly I hated you too Sasuke and yet he turned glaring at the masked boy you'll pay for this he said as steam began to form around him. Haku gasped. The steam filled the entire mirrored arena and the steam swirl surrounding Naruto turned into red chakra. The chakra surged and he ran through the ground cracking it, an ominous feeling permeated the air. Naruto's body trembled, he then lifted his head up, his canines elongated, and his whisker marks now broadened his eyes blood red with a slit in the middle. I'm gonna kill you his voice now pouring over with hate. The red chakra expanded more. What is this chakra? Chakra cannot be seen yet it's clearly visible it's something ghastly I can feel the wrath, the bloodlust like evil itself Haku thought, he then saw something disturbing. The chakra swirled and formed an image of a fox, soon all the needles were pushed out of the boy's body and his wounds began to heal as his nails turned into claws. His hand is healing and changing this boy, what is he? Naruto turned his head and his red eye locked onto Haku and growled. Outside the mirror both Zabuza and Kakashi felt the power surge. Is Zabuza creating this, Kakashi asks himself, then he realizes it, no, he's not. I know this chakra, there's no way. What is this energy? It's something foul, Kakashi, no, it too powerful even for him. Where's it coming from? Zabuza asks, searching all around him. Naruto. This puts everyone in danger. Why now of all times? The seal is broken, I have to stop it, Kakashi thought. The bloodlust in his eyes, this is no longer a child, Haku thought as Naruto growled, his stance lowered, putting him on all fours. Haku prepared a defense, and with that Naruto dashed forward. Haku threw more senbon, but Naruto just roared, and they were blocked by a force of red chakra. Naruto continued his advance only for Haku to move to mirror above his view. His chakra grows strong by the second. I must strike now, Haku said, appearing in all of the mirrors and throwing multiple senbon into the boy's body. He took the attack, and his chakra simply expelled the needle from his body. Naruto then located the real Haku and ran at full speed, smashing the mirror with his fist. Haku, taking this as a chance to finish it, swooped down with senbon in his hand, aiming to kill the boy fast, only for Naruto to spin his body out of the way. Haku tried to get away quickly, but Naruto was faster and grabbed the boy by his wrist. Those eyes was the only thing going through Haku's mind. Could it be the seal has been broken? No, it's been loosened, and a glimmer of the Kyuubi's chakra has slipped through, but the seal still holds, Kakashi thought to himself. Naruto's grip on Haku's wrist tightened as more chakra seeped out, shattering some of the mirrors. I can't, his energy is too strong, Haku thought as Naruto clenched his fist, powering it with chakra and punching Haku right in the mask. The boy was sent flying through one of his own mirrors and it shattered and he landed rolling a couple feet away, his mask cracking. Soon the mirrors and Haku's mask begin to crumble, one half of it fell to the ground. Zabuza, I am no match for this boy, master, I have failed, were Haku's thoughts as the boy closed in with another powerful punch. The other half of his mask fell, revealing his face. After I saw his face we talked, and he had felt the same loneliness until Zabuza came along. He wanted me to kill him because he had failed his so-called master. I tried to talk him out of it, but before I could get through to him he went and sacrificed his life and took the blow Kakashi was about to deal to Zabuza, and like he meant nothing to him, Zabuza was ready to strike him down in order to kill Kakashi. Soon Gato and his thugs appeared. They were there to betray Zabuza and take us down. Gato walked over and kicked him, placing his can on his face, defiling him. I snapped at Zabuza, and he said that my word cut deeper than any blade. He told me that even though we try to escape our feelings deep down, all shinobi are still human. He then asked for my kunai. I gave it to him, and at blinding speeds, attacked Gato and his men, taking heavy damage, but he targeted Gato and thrust my kunai in his heart, knocking him off the unfinished bridge. He then passed out. It turned out Sasuke hadn't died, and just when we thought it was over, the rest of the thugs were about to charge. Suddenly the village people showed up, their honor renewed and fear gone. I saw the sparks in their eyes. It reignited mine, and I cast my shadow clone jutsu, but only 5 appeared as I was low on chakra. Kakashi joined in however and cast the shadow clone jutsu to call it Kakashi style, and they all went overboard screaming in terror. While the villagers celebrated, Zabuza wanted to be by Haku's side and asked Kakashi to place him there. He died beside his comrade. We helped them finish the bridge and came home. Then flashback as Takeru and Naruto sat in his room. Takeru was completely in awe of his younger brother's experience. Naruto, that was wow, is that all we as shinobi are used for? Takeru asked, taking it all in. Naruto sighed, that's what Haku died believing, but beside their graves, I made a vow to follow my own nindo, a ninja way that's straight and true, and with no regrets, that's what I vowed. Takeru smiled, fine, then follow my own nindo as well, and together we'll pave the way for a new ninja world. Naruto smiled and nodded, bumping fist with his brother. Soon Mariah called them down for dinner. Later that night, as all of Konoha slept, one shinobi did not. At the Yodo residence in Naruto's room, the blonde-haired boy tossed and turned in his bed. Images of his recent mission fluttered through his head, all the pain and suffering and torment and the emotions plagued his mind. He then focused on the battle between him and Haku and the feeling of hatred, despair and loneliness he felt, and that power. Where the hell did that come from? He was about to get his answer. He suddenly sat up wide awake. He noticed 2 things: 1, he wasn't in his bedroom, and 2, there was water everywhere on the ground. He stood up and walked around this foreign place. If he could call it anything, he would say if it looked like a sewer. Naruto kept walking till he came to giant bars with a slip of paper on it. Where the hell am I? Naruto asked no one in particular. Suddenly a low ominous chuckle was heard coming from behind those bars. Young Baka can't even recognize his own mindscape. Naruto froze. That voice, I've heard that voice before. It's emerging from the murky shadows behind the bars. A very large fox with orange fur, large teeth, eyes full of hatred and 9 long flowing tails, stood before Naruto. Naruto's eyes widened. The Kyuubi. Naruto gasped to Kyuubi. The dark chuckle escaped the fox's lips. It seems you're not as dumb as you look, boy. The slight look of fear on Naruto's face quickly turned to one of annoyance. Oi, shut up, where the hell are we anyway? You really are dense, aren't you? I am sealed inside you. This is your mindscape, and a term even you can understand. This is your brain. Naruto's eyes widened at what he just heard. Really? But why is it a dump, looks and smells like a damn sewer? Well, it's your head, you figure it out, the Kyuubi replied back smugly. You're a smartass, you know that. Naruto pouted. He actually couldn't believe he was arguing with the same fox that destroyed the village, but he didn't seem that bad. And you're a weird one, short stuff, the Kyuubi bellowed out. This brat isn't scared of method. Naruto grumbled something incoherent, then something went off in his head. How'd I get here? Kyuubi sighs, the boy asking all those questions. It took everything in my power not writing a skin all damn question, lol. Do you recall what happened after that duck-haired boy fell in battle? It took him a moment, but he got the reference, and his head lowered. I felt so different, like I wasn't myself. I was filled with rage and hate. That was this accursed seal loosening slightly and my power seeping through the crack. Naruto's eyes widened. It was you. No, Baka, the rage and pain you felt was all yours due to that situation. My power is fueled by rage. I am hatred incarnate. During your experience, you felt so much rage and hate the seal weakened slightly, and my power slipped out. Naruto taking all this in was. So you're saying I can use your power as my own? You make it sound like I would willingly give you my power, foolish boy. The demon fox yelled at the blonde genin. Hey, I didn't ask like that. Hell, I didn't even ask for this. Naruto spat back, pointing to his current surroundings. We could fix that by you letting me out or letting me take over your body, the Kyuubi said while banging against the cage. No way. Naruto yelled back at the fox. He then thought about it him instead. Why don't you help me, or rather we help each other? Help you? Why, you really are a fool. Why would I help a pathic worm like you? I despise and loathe you. You couldn't have beaten that masked boy without my power, so why should I help you? The Kyuubi roared. Naruto growled at that jab. Because Baka, if you haven't forgotten, you are inside me, inside a pathic worm, and I'm pretty sure if I die something bad happens to you. Am I right, almighty Kyuubi? The fox remained silent, only staring at the boy with disgust. Why does he care what happens to me? Naruto slightly chuckled. Besides, you're not all that scary. I don't know, you look kinda cuddly and fluffy. Kyuubi eyes widened. He bellowed out a loud roar. How dare you? I am the Kyuubi no Yoko, the most powerful Biju ever, and yeah, phenomenal demonic power, itty bitty living space. Well, suck it up, cause you're gonna be here for however long I want you to be here. Team Naruto spat back. See, come say that to my face. The Kyuubi was almost at a loss of word at how this child was not scared and even toying with him. You'd like that, wouldn't you? Naruto said, but he couldn't hold a straight face. I'm sorry, I had to say it. Kyuubi's eyes widened again. Wow, what did you just say? Asked slightly shocked. I said I'm sorry I had to mess with you. You should have seen the look on your face, it was priceless. He chuckled some more before getting serious. Listen, I'm not afraid of you, and I shouldn't have to be. If we work together we could be unstoppable. You would use me as a slave, isn't being trapped in here enough? Kyuubi roared, thrashing his tails against the cage. Not as a slave. I don't want a slave inside me. I need a partner. Just think about my words, Naruto said as he started to walk away. The Kyuubi was speechless. This boy, his jailer, was not only unafraid of him, but in some aspect wanted to become partners. This Naruto was a strange one indeed, but he reminded him of someone else. The Kyuubi's train of thought was broken when the boy returned. How do I get out of here? Naruto asked, scratching the back of his head sheepishly. You are a weird one. Maybe, just maybe, this mortal won't be like the others. Without saying anything, the Kyuubi puffed his cheek and blew the boy away, making him exit his mindscape and getting the boy back for the fluffy crack. After leaving his mindscape rather abruptly, he sat up in his bed. He at least hoped the Kyuubi Baka would think about his offer. He laid back down and focused on something else in order to go to sleep. Naruto's next few days off were uneventful, all except learning that Takeru and Ino were a couple, to which he teased his brother about. It was 6 a.m. a day later, and Squad 7 along with Takeru were waiting at Training Ground 7 several hours later. So what do you think he'll teach us today? And Naruto-kun, Hinata asked shyly. Better question, Hinata-san, is why am I here? I'm missing my date with Ino-chan, Takeru said, lowering his voice on the last part so no one would hear him. Yeah, you'll get to your date with Ino-chan later. Ni-san, Kakashi-sensei asked for me to bring you, so I did, Naruto said, teasing him. Takeru's head got big. Oi, just wait till you get a girlfriend, you'll see it's way different, he quipped, and he saw that Hinata blushed slightly at this. Perfect, that is if you ever get one. What? Are you saying that I can't get a girlfriend? Naruto yelled. Yeah, I mean you can't even see when a girl really likes you, Baka, Takeru said, getting in his little brother's face. Sasuke slightly smirked at the interaction between the two. Even he wasn't blind to his female teammates' attraction to the blonde idiot. Hinata's face turned 2 shades of red, and so did Naruto. But before he could retort, you know, for a couple of ninja you two are very loud, Kakashi said in a monotone voice, as he finally appeared, his face deep into his infamous book. Both Takeru and Naruto exploded. And you're always late, so stuff it, Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi sweat dropped. I had to help an old lady with her grocery bags, he lied as always. Sasuke gave a grumpy huff. Look Kakashi-sensei, why you are late at times, Hinata added. Yeah, so let's just get on with the training, sensei, Naruto said with. Kakashi's sweat dropped even more. Alright, today we're going to work on some more advanced jutsu first, a sparring match to see where your skills are. At this, Sasuke and Naruto glanced at each other, glad for the chance to spar to gauge how strong the other has gotten. Bakaru, that is why you are here. I'll need you to work with Sasuke while Naruto works with Hinata. Kakashi finished. Hinata blushed as the pair went to separate spots of the large clearing. Kakashi made a shadow clone and watched both fights. Sasuke and Takeru scored off, circling each other, glaring at each other. Takeru had no real quarrel with the last Uchiha, but between himself, Sasuke and Naruto, they were the only ones in the village he could really hone his skills against. Unknowing to Takeru, Sasuke thought the same, but he'd never admit it. I've been wanting to spar with you since leaving the academy. Let's truly see how far we've both come. Takeru spoke in a calm tone, finally getting into a fighting stance. Yes, let's see, Sasuke said in his usual tone. I have to be stronger. I won't let a repeat of the last mission happen again, he thought as he took up his famous stance, activating his Sharingan. Then Naruto-kun, are you sure about this? Hinata asked, worried. She knows she must get stronger, but she didn't want to hurt Naruto. She could never hurt him. Naruto stood there with his arms crossed. Yes, I am Hinata-chan, please don't hold back, give me everything you've got, and more, he replied, thinking about his little spat with his brother. Earlier he knew that he was referring to Hinata. I had been too caught up in my ninja training, she's been nothing but nice and caring to me, and now she's my teammate. Maybe it's time I started paying more attention to her, maybe if I get to know her, he thought, getting into a simple stance. Hinata blushed. Alright, she assumed her Juken stance and activated her Byakugan, making Naruto gulp slightly. Both Kakashis, seeing they were ready, yelled begin. 1 hour later, all 4 genin were huffing and panting. Sasuke had given Takeru a run for his money, well he could tell they were about even, he had been training hard and those eyes made it so he could read his moves. Naruto was shocked as Hinata was tired. Both had evaded the other's attacks. I thought I had progressed a little bit, but I couldn't even land a hit on Naruto-kun, not that I wanted to, the young Hyuga thought, hanging her head down in shame. She was amazing, her strikes were really fast, I almost got hit by a couple, and the way she avoided all my attacks was graceful, almost like a dance, Naruto thought. Kakashi was impressed with their progress. Sasuke, Takeru and Naruto's Taijutsu was increasing as always, but he was more impressed from Hinata. The girl's Juken Taijutsu was greatly improving, her speed had kept up with the usually quick Naruto, and she even evaded the blonde boy's attacks, even thought Kakashi could tell he was holding back a bit. Alright, good job guys, take a small break, Kakashi said with an eye smile, as all the genin crashed to the floor. Kakashi was about to turn around when he noticed a kunai coming right at him, he smirked, catching the knife. Nice try, Anko-chan, Kakashi said, confusing the genin as they didn't see anybody until a fast blur came down in front of Kakashi. It was a woman with purple hair, a long brown trench coat, ninja mesh covering her chest, and down to the top of her knees, an orange skirt and metallic shin guards added to her sandals. What? Who the hell is that? Naruto yelled. Well, aren't you going to introduce me, Kashi-kun, Anko said in a seductive tone. Kakashi blushed, although you couldn't see it beneath the mask. This is Midarashi Anko, she's a Takebetsu Jonin and an old friend who's here to help. Takeru's eyes widened. That's awesome, that's what I'm training for. Impressive kid, Anko praised. Naruto huffed. Yeah, I'm going for something greater than Takebetsu Jonin. Anko's eyebrow raised. Oh yeah, and what's that, shorty? A tick mark appeared on the blonde's head. Grrr, I am not short hag, and I'm going to be Hokage. His voice wasn't as dark, but still dripped with that determination. The change wasn't missed by Anko, even thought she was ticked off at the hag comment. She had to admit this kid was serious about achieving his dream, now she could have some fun with this. Tell me how we're going to be Hokage when you can't even dodge a couple of snakes, Anko said with a devious tone. Snakes? What snakes? Naruto asked, confused. Anko made the snake then tiger seal Hisenijashu, hidden shadow snake hands. A bunch of snakes shot out of her coat arm, headed for the boy, sending him running away. Fool can't even evade snakes, Sasuke said. Bakaru growled, hey lady, leave my little brother alone. Oh no, and Naruto-kun, Hinata said, covering her mouth. Anko glared, and the two boys, well Bakas, here are some snakes for you as well. She sent snakes towards them as well, sending them running as well. Anko, this isn't what I meant when I asked for your help, Kakashi groaned. Oh, lighten up, Kashi-kun, I'm just having a bit of fun, Anko replied, finally setting her sights on the Hyuga girl. So this is the Hyuga girl you wanted me to help you with? Yes, Hinata, I've asked Anko to help with your training. I am aware that you train with your father and your family's jutsu, but it won't hurt to have more practical techniques. Okay, Kakashi-sensei, Hinata said. We're gonna have to work on the shyness too, Anko said, cracking her knuckles, making Hinata gulp, while the sounds of the 3 boys yelling in the background increased as they ran from the snakes. Another hour later, Naruto, Sasuke and Takeru were laid out on the ground, huffing and gasping for air. Hinata was too, but she was sitting on her bottom. Anko had sent snakes after her as well, and the snake mistress had to admit she was a lot better at dodging than the other three. Kakashi stood there next to Anko. "Alright team, today was a good day, you've all progressed well, now I have a little something for you before we take a break." Hearing this, all three of Kakashi's genin raised up and looked at their sensei. Kakashi pulled out a sealing scroll, rolled it out and activated the seal, making a large box appear. "What's in the box, Kakashi-sensei?" Naruto asked in a calm voice. "Well, what I have in this box are weapons. Well, your taijutsu is very impressive, I want to ensure your safety and make you stronger, so I've picked weapons that I think suit each of you." "Awesome!" Naruto exclaimed while Sasuke smirked. Kakashi I smiled. Now before I offer you these weapons you have a choice to use them or not, it's up to you. Now then for Hinata, I have an bow and arrows." Hinata walked up and claimed her new weapon. "Well, Kakashi, finished those arrows are chakra arrows, and with your Kekkei Genkai, these should prove very helpful." Thank you, Kakashi-sensei," Hinata said as she inspected the arrows. "No problem, alright, next Sasuke Chikura-2, Konoha Chakra Blade," he said, tossing the sheathed weapon to the last Ichigo. Sasuke caught the blade with ease, he then took it out and saw that it resembled an elongated kunai with the Konoha symbol on it. It's made from a special metal that absorbs chakra. Because of this, that blade can freely transform the chakra to produce added effects. A lot of Konoha nin use this weapon. Kakashi finished. Sasuke nodded and stared at the dagger. "I will use this to get stronger, to destroy him. And last but not least for you, Naruto, I have the Fujaku Hisho Shoken weaknessless soaring short swords. This blade can turn into two short swords that are designed to respond to attacks and allow the user to transform wind freely. The greatest advantage is being able to harness the user's chakra and performing high-level wind techniques with a minimal cost of chakra," Kakashi said as he handed the blade to Naruto. Naruto pulled the short sword out of the sheath and examined it. He got up and swung it around a few times and then spilt the weapon into the dual short swords. "Amazing, thank you, Kakashi-sensei," the blonde boy said. "That weapon is from the Takumi village, a place known for making the best ninja tools and weapons for all the great ninja villages." Kakashi proceeded. "What I didn't tell you is that it was made for your mother but was sent here after her death, so by birthright, it belongs to you, Naruto-kun," he thought. Anko, who was just sitting next to Kakashi, got up and walked to Hinata. "Well, if I'm going to be training you, I want you to start wearing these." She pulled out 2 pairs of weight and tossed them to the ground in front of the Hyuga beauty. They landed with a nice thud. Naruto's eyes widened. "Those have to be at least 40 pounds each." Anko smiled. "Yep, they are." She turned back to Hinata. "Put these on your arms and legs and wear them every day till our training is complete." Hinata gulped, but ever determined to get strong she complied. Kakashi turned to the other 3 genin. "Don't worry, have some for you as well." After the weights were on and everyone could slightly move, Kakashi sent them on an hour lunch break, but before he could leave everyone at training ground 7 heard a loud yell. "There you are." Everyone turned to a thick part of the forest and Takeru paled at the sight of Ino standing there and she looked pissed. The onyx-haired boy gulped. "Hey Ino-cha. Don't you hey Ino-chan me, you stood me up for our date," Ino fumed. "But I asked Naruto to send a clone to tell you it'd be a bit late." Takeru turned to his little brother. "Oh yeah," Naruto assumed a thinking pose. "You did ask me that, it must have slipped my mind, sorry." Takeru's face dropped. "You are so dead when I Yodo Takeru, don't you dare ignore me team," and with that Ino dashed after her boyfriend sending him running into the village. Everyone busted out laughing except for Sasuke, who settled for a smirk on his face, and Hinata, who stifled her giggle with her hand. Naruto, now that he was paying for attention to it, he saw that it was kinda cute. Kakashi and Anko left in a poof smoke together and Sasuke began walking home. Seeing that Hinata was about to leave, he called out to her. Hinata-chan," Naruto asked. "Why yes," and Naruto-kun. She stopped walking and turned shyly towards her teammate. Naruto blushed slightly. "I was wonder if you'd want to join me for some ramen." He didn't finish his question over the loud thud that followed. He looked down and saw that Hinata's face was very red and she had fainted. "Hinata-chan, Hinata, wake up," the boy said, lifting her head onto his lap, gently shaking her shoulders. After a few minutes of this, the Hyuga finally came around. Naruto smiled. "Will you thank Kami? I didn't know what happened to you, are you okay?" I'm sorry," and Naruto-kun, "Why yes, I'd love to get some ramen with you," Hinata replied, blushing furiously as she sat up. Naruto smiled his trademark smile and helped the lavender-eyed girl to her feet. They began their walk to Ichiraku Ramen. Later that night, Hinata Hyuga was a very shy girl. She was quiet and kept to herself. She was so shy she would even faint around her blonde-headed teammate who she was crushing on very hard, so you could imagine her utter joy and nervousness the young girl felt today. As the Hyuga princess lay in her bed resting from the aches and bruises she received, she recalled the day when Naruto had asked her to join him for lunch. It was the most unexpected thing, and before she could still herself she had fainted. When she awoke, she accepted and accompanied him to his favorite eatery. Her legs were wobbly and butterflies flew all through her stomach. She was sitting next to her. "Naruto-kun, it must have been a dream come true." Although it wasn't a date no matter how much she wished it was, Naruto was no less a gentleman, his improved manners showing greatly in her presence. They took the time to eat and had small talk getting to know more about each other. The day went on when they returned to the training ground to find Kakashi, Anko and Sasuke waiting for them. Takeru was nowhere to be found, but they all could swear they heard a loud thwack, followed by a yell during their break. While she trained with Anko, which meant running away from more snakes with the added weights, Naruto and Sasuke were tasked with sparring with Kakashi with their weights on. They eventually started practicing with their weapons. Needless to say, when they all got home that night every part of their bodies were sore. Anada sighed. Naruto-kun, why can't I tell you my true feelings? Do you even know what you do to me? How you make me feel? She thought to herself. Will you ever know? Maybe this Anko woman can help me. She sighed again, slowly trying to get up. She still had her clothes on and was covered in dirt and grime, because when she came home she quickly fell on her bed. Anada started to undress, removing the weights on her wrist, feeling so much lighter. She removes the weights on her legs as well. She unzips her large jacket and slowly shrugs it off, revealing her mesh undershirt and already developing breast. Removing her mesh shirt and then pulling down her ninja pants and panties, she grabbed a towel and walked into her bathroom to take a shower. As the 12-year-old princess stands under the warm running water, she looks down at her breasts, which were rather large for her taste, and she could tell she wasn't done growing. If she would size them up she'd say she was a C-cup already. I wonder if Naruto likes big-breasted women, or will he think I'm a freak, she thought, and then blushed tremendously at the thought of Naruto looking at her naked body. Oh my, Naruto-kun, Hinata moaned. This led to a very long shower before going to bed. But Naruto yawned loudly as he finally reached his bedroom and crashed on his bed. He decided that he would go see if the fox was gonna accept his offer. Hey furball, let me in, I need to talk to you, Naruto thought to himself. It took him in, but he felt the odd tug on his brain as he was brought into his mindscape. What do you want, boy? I'm trying to sleep, the Kyuubi growled out. Naruto snickered. What, I can't come say hi to my guest, he smiled. We both know that's not why you are here. You are here to see if I will accept your foolish offer, the fox replied gruff. Well, that's wait, you can read my thoughts, Naruto asked confused. Kyuubi sighed. This seal connects us fully. I can read your thoughts. I see whatever you see, and I can see your memories. Oh well, if you can see my memories and thoughts, then you know why it's a great idea for us to work together. A sad smile adorns Naruto's face. Even though some of the villagers did bad things to me as a child or hold a deep hatred for me, I still want to be Hokage so they can look up to me instead of down on me. If we work together, I can show them you are more than a demon. We could use our power to prove those fools wrong. I am willing to do it, are you? The fox Biju remained silent for a moment, making Naruto question his wording. The Kyuubi then let out a loud bellowing laugh. Foolish baka, I am the most feared creature in this land. What do I need to prove myself for? The simple mention of my name strikes fear into their weak, pathetic hearts. You're right, you are feared in the land of fire. But what about the rest of the ninja world? I'm sure there are beings stronger than I am right now, but with your help and training we not I or just you, but we could be a force to be reckoned with, both feared and respected, Naruto said, praying that the fox would take the bait. You may have a point. Naruto bows down on one knee, and with a fierce determination in his eyes, he speaks with a proud, pleading voice. Kyuubi-sensei, please teach me the ways of the demon fox lord so that I may crush all who stand in our way, so that I may protect those closest to me, and that we may become the strongest being in all the 5 great nations. Naruto finished his plea. To say that the Kyuubi was shocked was an understatement. He didn't show it as he kept his face impassive. The fiery look in Naruto's eyes and the way he addressed him gave the Kyuubi a pang of hope and sealed his conviction. He would mold this boy into one of the greatest shinobi the world has ever known, and in doing so hope to discover a way out of this cage. You foolish child, I accept your offer, the Kyuubi growled. Naruto leapt high in the air. Yahoo! Enough! He yelled out, quieting the blonde-haired genin down. There will be none of that nonsense while I am training you. If need be, I will grind you into dirt. You will heed my every word during training. You will come here every night. While your physical body rests as you sleep, we will train within your mindscape, and just because I accepted your offer does not make you as friend I despise you, but you are clearly better than my last handler, am I clear, boy? Naruto got that look in his eyes, the same look he gives when telling anyone that he will reach his dream of being Hokage. Crystal clear. He paused. Kyuubi-sensei, what is your name? What? The fox asked, stumped. That question really caught him off guard. Your name, what is it? Everything has a name, and I bet through all your years, no one has ever once asked your name or gotten to know you before judging. Naruto spoke. He didn't know how true that statement was to the fox. Kurama, my name is Kurama, Kyuubi replied in as soft of a voice as he could get, which greatly surprised Naruto. Kurama, that's an awesome name, he said, actually making the fox smile a less evil smile. Well, Kurama-sensei, what do we start with first? A kick-ass jutsu? Or Naruto began to ramble. Quiet, Gaki, before I can truly teach you anything you must first learn to harness and control my power and your emotions. If you get angry you unleash my uncontrolled power and would kill your so-called precious people. First lesson, I will pump my chakra into your nose and ears, heightening your senses tenfold. You baka must learn to adapt to the new sense before the end of the week, nothing else and nothing more. Are we clear? Kyuubi like this he was going to love being a slave driver to the boy. Naruto nodded quickly, and before he could as when he would feel the new sensations, the Kyuubi puffed up his cheeks and blew the boy out of his mindscape without another word. When Naruto returned back to the real world, he actually could help but smile, and the thought that he and the Kaiu Kurama were going to work together. He soon fell asleep with this thought on his mind, and when he woke up that morning he would surely regret it. He heard and smelled everything within a 30-mile radius. He could actually taste how foul his morning breath was. It was hell, and he only had a week to get adapted to it. He couldn't see it, but Kurama was smiling in his cage at the first lesson he gave the boy. Oh, he would have so much fun slave driving, I mean training the boy. With Kakashi, after handling reporting to the Hokage of his team's progress, he finally returned to his apartment. After settling in for the night he prepared to hit the light when he felt a presence behind him. You know I have a front door. He joked. This coming from you? Shall I list off your habits? Kashi-kun, Anko responded, sitting in his window. He smiled beneath his mask as he turned around. Anko took in his shirtless form. He only wore his mask and shorts. His normally spiky silver hair was now shaggy around his face without his hit eye. I'm here for my payment, she stated, walking over towards him. He noticed she was almost in her normal attire, except she was missing her underwire mesh that covered her large breast. As she got closer, Kakashi sighed and walked towards a small refrigerator-freezer combo and showed her a supply of dango, her favorite treat. She beamed, her mouth drooling at all the goodies he got for her. He closed it and walked back to face her. "I'm a good haul, Kashi-kun," she said, getting ever so closer, "but for this job, Mama's gonna need a little something." She traced her fingers slowly walking up his chest towards his mask. More. She tried to grab the mask to lower, but he grabbed both her hands at the wrist as he pinned her against the nearest wall. She smirked under his gaze as he got closer. She'd never admitted, but she loved it when he got like this. Then more you shall receive. Over the month of May, Naruto had been training with the Kyuubi in his mindscape, and that was no joke. Once he had adapted to his new enhanced senses, smell, hearing, and taste, the Kyuubi being to teach him the basics of Vulpine Taijutsu, which is an even more feral version of the Shikyaku no Jutsu, four legs technique. Naruto wondered why Kurama hadn't enhanced his sight, and when he asked, the Kyuubi simply replied, working on it. 1 month later, June 25th, after doing his morning routine which included Kinjutsu training with Takeru then eating breakfast with his family, Naruto and his brother left the house. "So what are you doing today?" Naruto asked. Takeru rubbed his chin, meeting Hey-sensei at the regular spot before our mission. They walked to a fork in the world. "Oh well, this where we part ways. I'll see you at that dinner tonight." "Dinner? What dinner?" "Oh," Naruto said. "Yeah, baka, I knew you'd forget." Takeru sighs and shakes his head. "We're meeting with the rest of the Rookie 10 for dinner at Yakiniku-Q when we get off the clock tonight. It was Ino's idea. It's a casual party, so I'll see you at home to change." Naruto smiled and shot his brother a thumbs up. Yosh. They parted ways and Naruto slowly approached a bridge where his team always met before. Hinata and Sasuke were there waiting, but as usual there was no Kakashi in sight. "Morning, Hinata-chan." "Sasuke," the blonde said, waving as he drew closer. Sasuke answered with his usual grunt and a nod of the head. "Good morning, Naruto-kun," Hinata spoke softly. Both Naruto and Sasuke froze, placing all eyes on Hinata, causing a major blush to redden her face. Whoa, she didn't stutter. About damn time, those private training sessions with that crazy snake lady must be paying off. Sasuke thought. "Hinata-chan, you didn't stutter. Wow, way to go," Naruto said, giving her his best foxy smile. The princess blushed and replied, "Thank why you eat." "Oh man, you had it," Naruto whined. "Naruto-kun, you make me so nervous, but I'm not gonna give up. I was close. I must break this shyness so I can walk beside you with my head held high," she thought inwardly. Soon after waiting 2 hours for Kakashi to show up, the team began their training for the day. As Squad 7 walked in the alleyway they held minor small talk here and there. "Boy, Hinata-chan, are you coming to the rookie gathering tonight?" Hinata looked toward Naruto and nodded timidly. Yes, I have to train with my father, but I'll try to make it," she spoke softly. "Well, I really hope you can come. It'd be awesome if you were there," he replied, rubbing the back of his head sheepishly. "I think so too," she replied with a blush on her face. Kakashi took note of this little exchange as they walked. "So he's actually flirting with her. About time, Naruto-kun," he thought. Naruto smiled then turned to Sasuke. "What about you, Sasuke, you coming?" Still walking, Sasuke answered, don't think so, I've got training to do. A tick mark appeared on Naruto's forehead. Oh come on, stop being such an emo loner and for once in your miserable life have some fun. Hinata gasped, Naruto-kun. Oh boy, Naruto-kun may have struck a nerve, Kakashi thought. Sasuke stopped walking but never turned around. A pregnant silence befell them before he spoke. Maybe, and only maybe, I'll come after my training. Naruto sighed, it's better than nothing I guess. Kakashi sighed as he continued to watch his group of genins. Then he heard a bird call in the sky. He looked up and saw the falcon with white spots. Alright guys, let's call it quits for today, I'll go submit the mission report, Kakashi spoke in his usual monotone voice. Fine with me, Sasuke scoffed as he walked away with his hands in his pocket. Kakashi poofed away, leaving Naruto and Hinata alone in the alley. Hinata blushed, we're alone, now's my chance, I must be brave, I have to tell him. But I don't want to just blurt it out, Anko said, small talk should help, she thought as she sighed as readied herself. So Naruto-kun, how is your training going? She spoke slowly as to not stutter. Well, it's going well, Takeru is helping me with my kinjutsu, so using my sword is becoming a bit easier, he smiled. What about your training, Hinata-chan? Hinata frowned a bit, my father doesn't like the idea of my training in archery, and he doesn't know about my training with Anko-sensei, so I only get to use my weapons when I'm with her. Naruto frowned at this man, what's the deal with your dad anyway? His enhanced senses kicked in, and he could hear scuffling on the ground and smell 3 distinct and familiar scents headed his way. Naruto-kun, you were saying, Hinata asked softly. Oh sorry Hinata-chan, but we're about to be interrupted, he finished, leaving her with a confused look on her face. What do you mean? She asked. He smiled again, watch this, he said, pointing behind him as if on cue. A square box with 2 eye holes cut out shuffled up behind Naruto, who didn't even turn around. Sighing, he simply called out, alright, come on out Konohamaru, Mogi and Yuden, I know you're under that poor excuse for a rock. Hinata wondered just what he was going on about, then she looked behind him and saw the fake rock. She giggled when the rock groaned. Aw man, you saw through my ruse again, boss, just what I'd expect from my greatest rival. A voice sounded from the box as it began to glow, and soon it exploded in 3 multicolored clouds of smoke. Once it began to clear, 3 sounds of coughing could be heard. Oh boy, here we go Naruto. I think we used a little too much gunpowder, you guys, Konohamaru expressed, still coughing. Hinata, still stifling her giggles, walked up behind Naruto. Naruto-kun, who are these 3? The 3 children in question looked at the Hyuga princess and smiled. The female of the group jumped up and posed. I'm Mogi, the sassiest kunoichi in preschool, check me out. I love algebra, call me Yuden. And I'm the #1 shinobi in the village, Konohamaru, and together we're the Konohamaru Ninja Squad. Naruto sighed, long introduction short, this is Konohamaru, the grandson of the Sandaime Hokage and his friends. Oh come on boss, Konohamaru whined. Yeah, what are you guys doing here anyway, and what's with the goggles? Naruto said, slightly peeved that his conversation with Hinata was cut short. You used to wear goggles, remember, so we're copying you, the short spiky-haired boy replied. Oh alright, so did you guys want something or what? You know what we want, are you busy now? Mogi asked impatiently. Yeah, you said you'd come play ninja with us, Kono replied. Well, I was in the middle of something with Hinata-chan here, the blonde said, pointing his finger back to the wide-eyed girl behind him, which caused her to blush. The 3 laid eyes on her as they got a better view of the older Kanachi. Konohamaru looked back and forth until a light bulb clicked in his head. Ah, I see boss, you're one smooth operator, come, I know that she's your girlfriend. Kono finished with his pinky lifted as Naruto. Hinata blushed furiously but stilled herself from fainting. No, I will not faint, I will stand tall, no matter how much I wish this boy's claims were true. Wow, she didn't faint, she really has come a long way in just 3 weeks. I'm very impressed, he blushed as his own thought, and then turned to Konohamaru and bonked him on the head. No Baka, she's my teammate, not my girlfriend, he replied, rubbing the back of his head as he sported a blush. So would you play ninja with us please boss, Konohamaru pestered with a pleading puppy dog eyes look. DRRR, Naruto began to growl until Hinata boldly put a hand on his shoulder. Naruto-kun, we did get off early, and the dinner isn't till tonight, so you have the time to. Naruto sighed, but then got a devious grin on his face that was not missed by the young girl. Fine, but you're coming with us, Hinata-chan. Hinata blushed and began to disagree, but no buts, like you said, we got off early so you have a little time to play with us. Hinata thought for only a second, then gave a soft giggle. Alright, yay, boss and his girlfriend are gonna play with us, Konohamaru yelled as he began to run off, followed by Yuden and Mogi. Argue rotten gaki, get back here, Naruto yelled playfully, then he turned to Hinata and extended his hand. Well come on, let's catch up to them before they get into trouble. Hinata's heart was racing, and before she could even process the situation she saw her hand move of its own and become intertwined with Naruto's. He began to race off, smiling, not going too fast so Hinata could keep up. Hinata herself was in heaven. Naruto-kun is holding my hand, his hands are rough, but so gentle Hinata thought as a blush remained heated on her face. Wow, her hands are really soft, and Naruto's thoughts on his teammate's hand was cut short as they turned the corner of the alley and saw Mogi and Yuden cowering while Konohamaru was on the ground rubbing his head. But what caught Naruto and Hinata's eye more were the two tall people hovering over the kids. The two ran quickly to get in front of Yuden and Mogi before they hurt. That hurt, but Takeru. Okay, this is not what I was expecting today, Takeru thought as he effortlessly dodged another man's sword. He and his sensei had been put on border patrol, and while patrolling had come up against some bandits who were holding up one of the merchants headed into Konoha. Hey sensei, what do you say I wrap this up? The onyx-haired boy spoke into the headset to his sensei. Hey, blocked another attack from a large man with a large cub. He cough. If you say so kid, cough, be my guest. He blocked again, pushing the man toward Takeru. Out of the corner of his eye he saw the same bird. Kakashi did so. It's finally time. Alright, here we go, Kaiten. Hibashiri the genin fired a raging fire stream from his mouth. Once it hit the ground it split up into 3 heads of a dragon and chased the 3 bandit he was dealing with until they were away from the merchant and then enclosed the fire to trap them in the running fire trap. Each time one bandit foolishly tried to jump over the fire, a small fire whip would knock him back. He created a shadow clone and sent it ahead to attack the large bandit, swung his massive club only for the clone to dodge by sliding under his legs. This greatly confused the Lumox until he heard a hissing sound and looked down to find a paper bomb close to his feet. He began to run, but the blast knocked him in the air, where both Takeru and Hei double kicked him in the back, knocking him into the fire ring on top of his buddies, knocking them all out. After securing the merchant and contacting a team of Anbu to escort the prisoners away, the 2-man team of Team 6 returned to the village. Good job, cough today Takeru, you earned this, Hei told him as he reached into his pocket and pulled out a scroll. Takeru gladly took the scroll and opened it as they walked. This is the Mikazuki no Mai, dance of the 3 days moon or dance of the crescent moon, Takeru said with pride. Yep, cough, my signature move. It's time to start your training with this technique, a sickly man explained. But wait, do you need to know the Cage Bunshin technique to learn this? True, and luckily you and I, cough, both know a certain someone who can help, cough, with the training. Takeru smiled thinking of his little brother. He then turned to his sensei. Thanks to San. Hei smiled as they continued their walk to the main office when suddenly a female Anbu with long purple hair reaching to her waist appeared before them. The bandits have been detained, Hei-san, but you are needed elsewhere for more urgent matters, she spoke in a calm monotone voice. Hei nodded and coughed while Takeru crossed his arms over his chest and smirked. Good afternoon, Ka-san, you're not fooling anyone, the young boy whispered. You couldn't see it through her mask, but a large tick mark appeared on her forehead. She knelt down beside the black-haired preteen and whispered in his ear. I thought I told you to stop calling me that, squirt. Next time we meet we shall do battle, Gaki, the Anbu growled playfully. Takeru smirked. I look forward to it, I mean Nico-san. Baka, you've been hanging with Naruto too long. Takeru stuck his tongue out at her and she patted his head and turned to leave with Hade. I'll report to Hokage-sama, cough. That's it for the day, and with that they both disappeared. But teammate Aburam Shino, Inyazuka Kiba and Haruno Sakura all sat panting after a grueling training session. Their teacher, the beautiful Yuhi Kurenai Jinjutsu mistress of Konoha, stood watch over them. Then she heard the caw of the same bird in the sky. I wonder. With Team 10, Saratobi Asuma sat with his team Nara Shikamaru, Akamichi Choji and Yamanaka Ino on their lunch break. He also saw the same bird in the sky. Tch, damn it, right now. With Naruto. Konohamaru, Naruto called out, regrettably letting go of Hinata's hand. The taller boy held the grandson of the Hokage by his scarf. That hurt, Gaki yanking on the scarf more, making Kono whimper. Stop it, Baka, we're going to get scolded later. The blonde female beside him spoke up. Hinata brought her hand up to her heart. Please let him down, he did not mean to bump into you. Konohamaru-kun, both Mogi and Yuden called out to their leader and friend. Naruto growled, damn it, I wanna rip him apart, but if I move him not sure what he'll do. I need a plan. How about an extra edge, boy? Kurama called to his student through their link. What do you mean, Kurama-sensei? Naruto asked telepathically. Just slowly channel a small amount of my chakra into your eyes and you'll find out. Naruto nodded and closed his eyes and began with Kyuubi's help channeling chakra into the blonde's eyes. There was a slight burning sensation in his eyes, but it soon subsided. He looked around at everyone and noticed them tensing up. The tall black-clad boy's grip loosened once he saw the change in appearance from the other short kid. It was something about those blood-red eyes that screamed bloodlust. They were familiar. Naruto looked down at his hands and noticed his nails had elongated. It was then that he felt the other changes to his appearance. His hair was spikier, his whiskers more pronounced, and his canines were elongated as well. All at once it hit him, he was in his fox mode as he called it, but the weird thing was he wasn't enraged, a bit pissed, but not full-blown enraged like he had been against Haku. Normally only anger would activate this form, but he was for all intents and purposes calm. He'd figure this all out later. Right now he needed to end this. He took a sniff and caught all the smells in the area. He could make out the familiar scents of Hinata, Mogi, Yuden and Konohamaru. The tall boy smelled of cedar and poison, while the girl who he thought was kinda cute smelled of desert lilies and a hint of weasel. He caught two more scents. One he recognized well. That team said he was going home. Oh well, he could be used as a distraction maybe. The last scent almost made him gag. It was the smell of sand and blood. Naruto looked directly into the now opened eyes of the tall boy and crossed his arms against his chest. I'm only going to say this once. Put him down now. Naruto spoke in a deep, dangerously calm voice. A shiver creaked its way up Hinata's back as she heard his voice. This wasn't her Naruto-kun, or was it? And this chakra felt oddly familiar. This feels like that time on the bridge in the land of waves. Tenkuro, just drop him and let's go. He'll be here any minute. I'll have no part in this, the girl said to her partner, actually startled by the short kid's appearance. Tenkuro huffed so the blonde run changed his eye color. Big whoop Tamari, he doesn't have what it takes to back it up. Naruto growled a guttural growl. Wrong answer. He was about to dash toward the fool and take him out, but before he could a small object flew at high speeds hitting Kankuro's hand, making him drop the smaller boy. The small pebble landed at his feet. The tall boy then looked up into the tree. Sasuke was bouncing another pebble up and down in his hand. I'd listen to the man if I were you. You're way out of your league, he said smoothly. Sasuke-san. Hinata sighed in relief. Took you long enough, Team Naruto thought. Tenkuro glared at the last Uchiha. Tamari looked Sasuke up and down. Well he's handsome. Konohamaru took this chance to run back to the blonde boy. Naruto Nai-san. You okay? Squirt Naruto asked, letting his appearance revert before the boy looked into his now blue eyes. Konohamaru nodded. Oh great, another wimp to piss me off, Kankuro taunted. Sasuke took the other pebble and crushed it effortlessly. Get lost. Hey punk, get down here, you're the kind of runt I hate the most. All attitude and nothing to show for it, Kankuro called out, pulling the wrapped pack off his back in a battle stance. What? The girl yelled. You're going to use Karasu now for this? And short eerie silence fell over them before an emotionless voice called out from nowhere. Tenkuro, back off. Sasuke thought. There, Naruto thought, finally pinpointing the deadly scent. You are a disgrace to our village, a red-haired boy standing upside down on the tree limb said in a deadly calm voice. When did he show up? Only Jonin on Kakashi's level can move that quietly, Sasuke thought. The red-haired boy shot a cold, emotionless look toward Sasuke and Naruto. Meanwhile, I have summoned you here for a very important purpose. Seeing you fellow Jonin here, I assume you know what this is about. Sarutobi Hiruzen, the third Hokage, said in a stern, commanding voice. So soon? I thought we'd have a little more time, Kakashi replied in a monotone voice. Asuma sighed. I assume the other lands have been notified about the coming event. I noticed some of their genin have already arrived here in the village. And when do we start? Kurenai asked. The Hokage took a puff of his pipe. We begin in 1 week on the first day of the 7th moon. That's very short notice, Kakashi said. Hopefully the extra training I've given them over the last couple months will keep them going, the white-haired man thought. The Hokage told them that all the genin will gather and only the best of the best will be selected as chunin. He asked which jonin believed their genin were ready, and to the surprise of everyone in the room, Kakashi, Asuma, Kurenai and Hade all gave the names of their students. For the first time in years, rookies were going to take part in the exams. With Naruto, the red-haired boy hung upside down staring at Kankuro. Have you forgotten the reason we came all the way here? I know, they just Kankuro began to babble out of fear. Shut up or I'll kill you, the boy replied with his deadly calm voice, sending shivers down everyone's spine, even Sasuke and Naruto. Kankuro cowered to his teammate. I'm sorry Gaara, I was out of line. I'm sorry. The one now known as Gaara turned his head toward Sasuke. I'm sorry for any trouble he caused. This guy has an evil look in his eye, Sasuke thought to himself, while never taking his eyes off him. He stopped Kankuro with only a pebble. He's good. And the other kid, I sense a dangerous power in him. These two must be watched, Gaara wondered. He then was replaced by a whirl of sand and was next to his teammates in the blink of an eye. Let's go. We didn't come here to play games. Naruto heard the Kyuubi growling in his head. You okay, Kurama? Sasuke finally jumped down and spoke. Hey, you identify yourself. You mean me? Tamari asked in a sultry tone. No, he means the one with the gourd on his back, Naruto chimed in, bursting her bubble. Gaara looked at our two heroes. I am Sabaku no Gaara. I am interested in the two of you as well. Who are you? Sasuke smirked. I am Uchiha Sasuke. And I am Uzumaki Naruto replied, his face impassive. And this is Hyuga Hinata. We are Squad 7. Hinata blushed. This boy didn't even care to ask for her name, but Naruto gave it anyway, and with such pride in his voice. Thank you, Naruto-kun. The alley was quiet, and a gentle breeze seemed to come from nowhere and sway the hair of the three boys who just stared at each other. Come on, we're leaving, Gaara said to his teammates as they quickly left the alleyway. Hey Sasuke, are you getting the same vibes I am off that guy? Naruto asked. Sasuke nodded. Yeah, he's deadly. Things are getting interesting. Later that night, Konoha at night was still almost as busy as it was during the day. People still walking the streets, checking out stores and eating dinner. Up on the rooftops, two figures ran and hopped between buildings at high speed. Baka, you made us late. Me, what about? You're the one who wanted to get more training, and once I got home, well, I needed to start learning that jutsu and you needed more kenjutsu training, so bite me. You know Ino's going to kill you, right? The black-haired boy sighed. I know. This was the conversation had between Naruto and Takeru as they ran through the streets of Konoha and then jumped to the rooftops headed to the Rookie 10 gathering. The boys finally got close enough to see Akiniku-Q and both paled at the sight. Yamanaka Ino was standing outside looking around for something or someone. Dude, she looks pissed, she really is going to kill you, Naruto said to his brother. I'll just tell her it's your fault, which it totally is, Takeru replied smugly. Naruto smirked and started to chuckle as they neared the restaurant. Good luck with that. Takeru was about to ask what he meant when saw nothing but a puff of smoke. This caused him to almost trip on the last step. He quickly caught himself long enough to make the last jump before landing right in front of Ino, scaring her. That little gaki, when this is over I'm going to kill him if I survive this. He looked up and was awestruck. He looked her up and down starting from her feet. There stood Ino wearing purple heels, black short shorts, a purple halter top covered by a black blazer, small hoop earrings and bangle bracelets on her arms, and a very angry scowl on her face. Wow, Ino-chan, you look absolutely amazing, he said standing from his kneel position. Thank you, Take-kun, you look great as well, she paused, taking in his simple casual approach. He wore blue jeans with red and black tennis shoes and a red polo with forearm-length black sleeves. But why are you so late? He rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. Naruto-kun and I kinda got caught up in our evening training session. I'm sorry. Hi, I really am. Ino sighed and then smiled. Yay, alright, she said, wrapping her arms around his neck and placing a small peck on his lips. She then leaned up to his ear. But you owe me for being late twice. Takeru shivered slightly for two reasons. Wink wink, but his thought pattern changed when he heard a certain someone's voice. I'd hate to see just what he owes you, Ino said, a certain blonde as he walked from the other side of the street with a very red-faced Hyuga Hinata by his side. Ino and Takeru looked shocked as Naruto and Hinata walked up to them in front of the building. Naruto was wearing black khakis with casual black shoes and an orange short-sleeve polo with black watch with the Konoha symbol inside it. Hinata wore a light pink and lavender long-sleeve dress that came down to her shins and pink sandal low heels. Wow, Hinata, you look so cute, Ino squealed. Thank you, Ino-san, Hinata said to stunning Takeru and Ino with a lack of stuttering. Takeru, quick to come out of his stupor, lunged at Naruto. Baka, you made me late, and with a clone no less, he spat at his brother. Naruto gave his foxy grin. He sorry Nai-san, I. Bonk. Both boys were now sporting large bumps on their heads and they looked to their attacker, which was Ino. Will you two give it a rest? Let's just go inside already. Not wanting to incur her wrath any further, both boys scurried inside. Ino turned to Hinata and smirked. See, Hinata, that's all it takes to instill fear and control into a man's heart. Hinata giggled. Do you really mean that, Ino-san? Nah, it's just way too fun to mess with those two knuckleheads. I swear Naruto rubs more goofiness off on Takeru every day. But they are good for each other, wouldn't you agree? Hinata replied, and both girls began to walk inside. Ino smiled. Yeah, they are, she giggled. They made their way to the back VIP room they had picked out to hold all of them. Luckily Choji's family held a certain privilege here and it was easy enough to acquire the room. They entered the room to find Shikamaru, Choji, Shino, Kiba, Sakura, Takeru, and Naruto sitting and talking. Sasuke was still a no-show. Both girls noticed empty seats next to Naruto and Takeru, indicating they had saved them seats. They both smiled and blushed. Taking their seats, they listened in on the conversation. So Naruto, why were you, Takeru and Hinata so late? Kiba asked. Naruto snickered a bit. Well, Takeru and I were locked so deep into a Kenjutsu training session, before we knew it had gotten late. After a quick race to the bathroom to shower up, which I won. He smirked hearing Takeru growl. I got ready while he was in, and once done I left, leaving a clone at the house. Well, that doesn't explain why Hinata was late, Shikamaru asked, yawning. I was doing my evening training session with my father, the Hyuga princess explained, and then blushed when all eyes except Naruto, Takeru and Ino fell on her. Whoa, she didn't stutter at all. Wow, Sakura said bluntly. Yeah, well anyway I went to Hinata's place to grab her so we could come together, us being teammates, and all Naruto finished. Ino scoffed. Well, if that's the case, where is Sasuke? He's your teammate as well, and he was also invited. At hearing this, Naruto just burst out laughing. What's so funny, Baka? Takeru asked, slightly annoyed. Really guys, you mean to tell me you haven't noticed it? Naruto asked, still laughing. Everyone looked at Naruto like he had grown a second head, well, except Shino, who remained stoic, and Shikamaru, who just muttered something about having troublesome friends. Noticed what, Naruto? Choji asked, the question on everyone's mind while munching down some cooked beef. Naruto grinned. Really guys, I mean come on Kiba, I thought at least you'd pick up on it with your nose. What the hell are you getting at, Naruto? Pick up on what, man? Kiba yelled out, Akamaru yipping in agreeance atop his head. Naruto shook his head and got up, going to the closed window and opening it, confusing everybody even further. Picking up on the fact that Sasuke has been here for at least 10 minutes, standing on the wall beside the window. He says, poking his head out and waving at Sasuke. The last Uchiha was at a loss for words. What the hell is going on here? How'd he know I was out here, he thought, coming up to the window, surprising everyone. Nani? Mostly everyone yelled as Sasuke crawled in through the window with a very Uchiha grunt and nod, sitting down in the only empty seat left next to Sakura. "Naruto-kun, how did you know Sasuke-sen was out there by the window?" Hinata asked confused. "Simple, I pinpointed his scent. He reeks of aloe and emo," Naruto says as he sits back down, turning to Sasuke. "Been practicing some fire jutsus, haven't you, Sasuke?" The boy growled. "Okay dope, how the hell did you know that? Were you spying on me or something?" "Nope, I can smell the aloe chapstick you have on your lips, which I guess you'd need if you were using fire style jutsu, plus Takeru using the same brand after he practices." "Okay, that's just freaky," Choji said, flipping a couple pieces of meat. "Okay, Mr. Supernose, take a whiff of everybody in this room and tell us what you smell," Takeru challenged his little brother. Naruto smirked. "Alright, here I go," he said, taking a sniff of the area. "Okay, Shino, right." He turns toward the mysterious boy who always hides his face. "You had a bento box with sticky rice, yakitori and dumplings half an hour ago." Everyone looked toward the boy wearing glasses at night. He nodded and replied, "He is correct." Next, Sakura. "She used cherry blossom shampoo before coming here. She finishes it off, but the scent still lingers." Sakura blushed a bit and nodded. "Let's see. Ah yes, Choji, he has a stash of 1, 2, 3 bags of bark chips on him right now. Oh, and your food is burning," Naruto said, looking down to the food. Yep, he's Choji began to nod before trying to save his burning beef. "Lazy ass, severe smells like smoke, which mean he was playing a game of shogi with Asuma-sensei earlier. You won, of course." Shikamaru nodded, dumbfounded. Naruto turned to Kiba, and a devious smirk flashed on his face before disappearing. "Kiba over here was pleasuring himself," he laughed as he dodged a knife thrown at his head. "Fuck you, Baka," Kiba growled. "I'm kidding, he was giving Akamaru a bath and fell in. They both smell like wet dog," he chuckled, cause everyone else to laugh as well. Akamaru yipped, barking at Naruto, while Kiba just sat murmuring something about revenge and stupid Baka. Naruto turned to Ino and gagged a bit. "Damn it, Ino, you must have worked at your family's shop before coming here. You smell like 27 different flowers, with a hint of pina colada lip gloss." "Yep, that's what I have on, and we did get 27 new flower types in today," Ino replied. "Nice, and you smell like Ino's lip gloss," he said bluntly, causing the couple to blush. They secretly held each other's hand under the table. Takeru smirked. "Well, she did kiss me before you showed up," he said, looking at his blonde bombshell. And last but certainly not least, Naruto mocked in an regal tone, making Hinata giggle, and everyone else either snort or chuckle. "Tell me, Hinata-chan, is it your perfume or body wash that is a vanilla and lavender mix?" Hinata blushed furiously. "My body wash is vanilla L lavender and Naruto-kun." "Holy shit, he got them all right," Kiba exclaimed, shocked. "Dude, what kind of training have you been doing to get your nose that good?" Sakura added, "Yay, not even Kiba's that good, and he's been training with his family." "Hey," Kiba yelled out, annoyed. "Sorry, dog breath, but you know I'm right. So what's your training regimen, Naruto?" Sakura. Naruto rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. "I can't just tell them about you, Kurama-sensei, not yet. I thought you wanted the people to fear our power." "I don't care, boy, make something up," the giant fox growled to his host, going back to sleep. "I've just been practicing my chakra control, and the way I do it is by channeling chakra into my nose and ears. It's no biggie. By the way, someone is coming to the door with more beef," Naruto explained. And sure enough, the door opened a second later with a waitress holding a large tray filled with uncooked beef. "I've brought more beef for the large party," the waitress said, smiling. "Dude, that is freaky," Takeru said, smiling. All of the group began to laugh, and once the meat was distributed properly, meaning everyone got a couple pieces before giving the rest to Choji, they seemed to forget about Naruto's training, much to his liking, and they all had engaged in small conversations with each other while they ate. While Sasuke waited for his beef to cook, he noticed something. Out of the corner of his eye he saw Sakura, and normally it was what she would do around him that either caught his eye or annoyed him, but this time it was what she wasn't doing. Throughout the entire time he sat next to her, she didn't have one of her fangirl moments, and it surprised him a bit. He quickly turned back to his food with a thought, maybe she's finally given up on being a fangirl and gotten serious about her training him. Interesting. Unknown to the last Uchiha, a certain blonde had seen the looks he had given the pink-haired girl. The night soon died down, and all of the rookie 10 began to get up and leave. Takeru offered to walk Ino home, while Naruto offered to walk Hinata home. Everyone said their goodbyes and went their separate ways, unknowing that the next couple months will change their lives for better or worse. But Naruto, after walking Hinata home and returning to his own, the blonde put his body to rest and entered his mindscape. "Kurama-sensei, I'm ready for training," he called out excitedly. "Tonight, boy, I am not going to train your body, I'm going to enlighten your mind." The massive fox spoke to his student first. "How did you like your gift?" "I was going to ask you about that, I liked it." "What did you do?" "What is it?" Naruto asked. "It is a sort of dojutsu which basically channels my chakra into your eyes and body, giving you the power and appearance of the fox mode. You've so crudely dubbed it without needing to be angry or filled with rage. This will make training in Vulpine Taijutsu much easier for you. It has other features, but you will figure those out later." "Thank you, Kurama-sensei. You also mentioned something about that Gaara kid. Just what was it about him that got you so fired up?" Naruto asked. Kurama sighed and explained about how there were other Biju, what a Jinchuriki is, his connection to them, and they all have a host. Naruto listens with his ears and his heart. So there were others out there like me, he thought to himself, forgetting that Kurama could hear his thoughts and sense his pain at remembering his past before Takeru and his family. Kurama sighed heavily as he struggled to say something. Hey kid, for whatever it's worth, I am sorry about how they treated you as a young boy because of me. Naruto froze and gawked at the large fox behind the bars. He could actually see remorse in his large red eyes. He then did something weird, he started to laugh hard. Why you rotten, Kurama bellowed out. I'm sorry Kurama, thank you, but you don't have to apologize. We're working together now to make sure we make those who did those things see us in a whole new light. He paused, a sincere smile coming upon his face. With all the training you've been giving me, I'm becoming stronger, and I'll make sure to make you proud sensei in these Chunin exams. I promise. He finished with a thumbs up and the biggest foxy grin plastered on his face. Kurama just shook his head and smirked, puffing up his cheeks. He blew Naruto out of the mindscape. The Kyuubi smiled slightly. We'll see kid, we'll see.